happy Monday. It's Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM, emanating from a very hot Manchester, New Hampshire. Streaming at WMNHradio.org. You can also find WMNH on the TuneIn app. Of course, we're on Channel 97 Comcast in Manchester, and you can watch from wherever your heart desires on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. Hello to, I see Jenny already in there in the Facebook Live chat. That's one of the ways you can communicate with us during the show. You can also give us a call, 603-250-6007. And we have the People's Mayor, Glenn R.J. Willett, is here.
Really?
Yes, as well as John Hopwood, if that is your real name.
Yes.
Yes.
He said yes.
And my
That's
goodness.
a song from the 30s. Yes, my baby said yes.
You know, Matt, I want to copy what you played earlier. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
Where did you find that?
I'll send you the link. That is, I'm glad you asked. That is Rocky Mountain Mike, one of my favorite YouTubers. Every couple of days, he puts up a new song parody, and the guy's brilliant.
So up to date, isn't he?
Brilliant. And I would just like to take a moment to say, woo-wee, is it hot?
It's so hot, I feel I'm on Mars.
Yes. Now, you might be
I can't
confused.
tell. I'm sick.
Well,
I'm picking up an antibiotic at Walgreens.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you might be confused as to why I would say something like woo-wee, being a Northeasterner.
Being an Englishman.
But
That's Jed Clampett.
But I've decided that it is so hot out. On my way here, I thought, we're all Southerners now. And that's the conclusion that I've come to. It is that hot. It's triple digits. It's 100 degrees outside.
How hot is it?
It's 100 degrees outside. Woo-wee, is it hot?
Today they said it would be between 95 and 100.
Yeehaw!
With the humidity, it would feel between 105 and 115. That's hot.
Eat doggy.
The snow is melting.
That's how hot it
What
is.
snow?
I was sweating, and I didn't know why. It turns out I have an infection.
No, it's the humidity.
What kind of infection?
I got it from my new girlfriend.
Not
So
going there.
So you have a venereal disease, and you're announcing it on the radio.
No, I would say
I'm not going there.
since she comes from one of the dimensions beyond the 6th and 7th dimension, which we've all dealt with being on the 4th floor, technically I don't know what kind of infection is. All I know is I was sweating profusely. I just thought it was, the weather.
John, have you been
But
to
it was
Mars
love.
lately?
It's love. Mars is just the local neighborhood. We've dealt. If it's not Arcturus or beyond, it doesn't really count. Don't you think that we originated in Arcturus?
I have no idea.
I think it's obvious. So
You were
So, Matt,
neither
we have
here
3
nor
more
there.
days of this heat wave to go.
3 more days.
Yes.
Oh my! Woo-wee! Is it hot? We're all Southerners now. Even when I was a kid and my friends and I would play Dukes of Hazzard with our little cars, like the General Lee and the police car and whatever, I wouldn't blurt out such Southernisms. But it's 100 degrees outside. So, like I said, we're all Southerners now.
Triple digit.
Now
My car says 92.
No, it's 100 degrees, my friend.
Your car is cold.
100. Now, but fear not, because I know that some people, they get upset when it's this hot. They think, oh my goodness, it's climate change. And yes, 2017 was the hottest year on record. But don't worry, I know for a fact that climate change is not real. You know how I know, right?
Yeah, because Mendocino's burning down, and even though it's never burned down before, California always is burning down, right? Like earthquakes.
Well, there is that, but also too, you've got all these politicians who get all this money from big energy, big oil, fossil fuels, coal, etc. And they tell me that climate change is a hoax, and why would a politician lie?
Like the Saudi prince.
Excuse me?
And by the way...
Why would a politician lie?
And by
Guess
the way...
why they get money from these corporations with the dirty energy? It's because they don't want to admit that there is climate change.
Glenn, these people are paragons of virtue. How dare you?
Oh, my God.
And the other thing, I can prove it too, okay? Riddle me this. Is climate change mentioned anywhere in the Bible? I don't think so. There you go. So clearly
Yeah, it is.
Since when did you listen to the Bible?
Didn't
Matt Connarton.
40 days of rain count as
Yes.
change?
It was a big change.
That wasn't climate change. That was just a very rainy season.
Noah
And-
goes up, then he comes down and marries Yvonne DiCarlo, or was that Moses when he lands in Armenia?
The extinction of the dinosaurs was created as a big change.
Glenn, you know the Bible.
But that wasn't climate change. That was
that was
a meteor.
earthquakes and meteors and everything else.
No, come on. Now, we all know. I think we all know our Old Testament.
Velikovsky, right?
Have you smelled the air lately when it's this hot? It stinks.
We all know the story.
You've been downwind of City Hall, so don't count.
We all know the story. The dinosaurs were cast out of the Garden of Eden. And
They
then,
were not.
And then God crashed an asteroid into the Earth.
They weren't in John Milton's version, but I've never read the Catholic Bible.
Well, maybe.
Have you read the Bible?
It's time you read the Catholic Bible, I think.
Well, King James is not considered the Catholic Bible. It is the Bible.
Kim James?
King James.
No, but you Catholics, you have a different Bible. It has different chapters.
You Catholics, stop being such a bigot. How dare you?
Yeah.
The King James is for Protestants.
Anti-Catholic bigotry. How dare you?
It's based on the Geneva Bible.
You, John Hopwords, is the only one that has that War 13 going around the city.
I got something. You've read the Bible. Do you think
You have an
it's
infection.
fair
You told us, yes.
for Noah, after the tub came down and he got drunk, when his son comes in and sees him stark naked, drunk, and he comes out and tells his brothers, "Hey, Pop's in there without a stitch on," and then his brothers grab some type of raiment or whatever they call it back then, back up so they don't see Dad's private parts or anything, and cover him. And then Noah makes that son, who was a little impertinent, a slave
not
to
fair.
his two brothers.
It's not
Do you
fair at
think
all.
that was fair?
I don't think it's fair at all. Glenn, what do you think?
I don't.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of slavery still existing today.
Have you ever seen your father
throughout the
naked?
world.
I'd like to file a petition.
Can't say that I have.
I have when he was on the table.
Not that I want
Well,
to,
he wasn't dead yet. but
Actually, I can't say that. I mean, I bathed him when he was really, really sick.
when
so,
I was,
but
I took
what's-
care of my father
That's
at the
not
end.
a big thing.
Well, if he had come to instead of dying, he probably could have made me my brother. He'd have condemned me to slavery with my brother, and I'd live in
come
England
on.
now, and I'd be better off because at least I'd have national health care.
That's true. Apparently,
You have national health care? We don't have national health care.
They
in this
do in
country.
England, or
Well,
I'd be a slave in England.
apparently, my father saw me nude on the day of my birth, but I learned to talk very quickly. I said, "Please, Papa,
Don't cry.
please,
Pop.
please
Where's-
clothe me." I was very modest as
Where's
a baby.
Papa?
Did he cry because he wanted a daughter?
I did.
or what?
I did call him Papa when I was a
Papa.
kid. Yeah, I did call him that. Well, or I'd call him Pa.
Did he
Papa.
cry because he wanted a girl instead of a boy?
Did he cry? He didn't. He wept with joy. I had just come into the world.
That's a good
It's
weeping.
like the greatest day. October 26, 1972. It's a day that will live
He
in
found
infamy.
you
That's a good
after-
weeping.
He found you after your mother dropped you into the pit she dug, and with her hind paws got all the sand onto you.
Yes.
Oh
well,
my God! A lot of creativeness around here.
Isn't it nice?
creativeness.
This is the truth.
I think you mean creativity.
Creativity. It's creative.
Now, Glenn, we go along.
He says it the
we
French
go
way.
along with reality socially defined. Now, it's a good thing that you didn't have an older brother because he might have condemned you to slavery, running around naked.
That's true.
Without you don't. I thought a Yeti was born fully furred.
Well,
Fully furred.
fully furred is
Fully furred.
It's not everywhere.
Have you asked?
Those were the cavemen that were fully furred.
Remember last Monday we had the anti-circumcision people here.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
my God!
I was
very
telling
exciting.
Glenn, and then he told me a story that I asked him to
Hey,
discontinue.
don't. Stop right there.
Wait.
My God.
Stop your ears up.
Wait, hold on,
There's
Glenn.
nothing to say.
You
Glenn,
said it on the morning show, but you gave a few more details.
Glenn, I think you
I
can
didn't
share.
say it on the morning show. What are you talking
Glenn-
about?
He told me that you said it on the morning show.
Mr. Hopwood has already revealed in front of the world that he has a venereal disease, and you're going to be all shy about your thing.
From Venus.
Oh, from Venus.
Oh, from Venus?
Oh,
I'd rather that than Mars.
a Venusian disease.
We should drop the yeah.
Man, I
bomb
haven't
on
written my
Venus.
book yet. I'm not giving you all my secrets until the book is written.
You have a book?
Oh, there's a fan
It's
here.
coming.
A wise one.
Oh, very nice.
Here.
You know, as I plan for my retirement, I need to keep busy, so I'll write a book.
I'm in front of all this very hot equipment. This is wonderful. Thank you. Well, this is it's an AARP fan.
Oh,
Very
God.
nice.
Do you
I'm
hear
never-
that string?
What's that? Wait, hang on. Let me.
It's a Lear. Liar or is it Lear?
do that again.
Liar.
What are you doing?
I'm playing the strings.
Oh.
The spring, I should say.
Oh, you can actually hear that on the mic when I fan
How
myself.
do you
Okay.
pronounce Lyre? Like, the gods play a lyre, or is it a...
think
That
it-
sounds like what I called the former mayor.
I think it's Lear.
Lear, right. It's
but
like a
I'm not
Lear.
positive,
And what do you
though.
call the
That's
new
what I
mayor?
was trying to call him,
Oh, we're
and
not gonna
everybody
go
thought I was
there.
calling it a liar. I was calling him a Lear, because of the music, sweet music that came from his puckered
Kabika
lips.
baraka bush.
Hello to NASCAR Nicey, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. You can also call us, too, 603-250-6007. Because, woo-wee, what else do you have to do on a hot day?
Were you a campus radical, Glenn?
I'm an instigator. I don't know if I'm a radical, but I'm pretty.
He's
am I
admitting
radical? You know me pretty well. Am
He's
I radical?
admitting it, isn't he?
He kind
right
of
to the
is.
root.
He kind
Cut
of
to the
is.
root.
Yeah.
Am I radical?
Well, it depends, I think.
You lip sync very. No, you sing very
No,
well.
he's a great singer.
You're so funny.
He has the voice of an angel. I've often said Glenn R.J. Willett, he's the people's mayor and a golden throat.
Oh, really? No, my feet don't feel so gold. Not in this weather.
Are you sick as well? You don't have a
I'm
venereal
sick.
disease, do you?
No, I do not.
Oh, good.
Never have, never want to.
Good.
A-bomb Venus. That's my big. If I had been president, which I dreamt of when I was at Boston University, the president of the
did?
student government, they were always talking about nuclear winter. Oh, that was the big thing. That
Shall we take this
professor.
private call?
What?
No.
What do you have?
And
Private call.
Is it from one of your sons?
No, it's a private number. It says it doesn't give me a number.
it's a bill collector. Hey.
Not a bill collector. My bills are paid.
Okay, so you've all heard of nuclear winter, although you were
course.
just a pop around then. So why don't we just put all the nukes on a platform, which they're in the Arthur C. Clarke version of 2001. That's what the Star Child comes through and blows up. There's all these nukes on platforms. And then we just bomb the living, expletive deleted, out of Venus. It blows off that horrible atmosphere. And then, we'll have a salubrious climate that we can all go live in. And, fight wars over in the name of private property.
Well, if you blew it off its axle, then what's it doing still there now?
We're not talking about blowing off. Oh, so you admit this has been done in another dimension.
No commento.
Oh, he really slipped up there.
No
didn't he?
commento.
All I know is that in high school, some friends and I had a prog rock band called Salubrious Atmosphere. We had Venus was our big hit single. Hello to Ben Dion of the Weekly Dion, who joins us in the Facebook Live chat.
Glenn, France hasn't been the same since the Axis, flipped that time back. What was it, 1763?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Glad I wasn't
Everything went to
born.
hell
Well,
after
let me
that.
give you some good news. If I ever go to France, it will never be the same.
Have you been to France?
No, I've never been to
You've
France.
never been to Paris?
I've never been outside U.S. and Canada. I'll be going outside to Middle East and Europe soon, and that will be my first adventure outside of the North American
How can you have
continent.
never been to Paris? It's the greatest
'Cause,
city on earth. You can actually speak.
Costs money to go to France.
You're 104 years old from what we saw on your old gravestone, or was that? Yeah, well, that was the thing on the coffin he shares with Billy Shea.
Oh.
So
Billy
you have
Shea.
all this time to.
You mean a crypt? They share a crypt?
Is that what do you call it?
I think in that instance you call it a crypt.
Yeah, I'm kind of all woozy.
Is this
from
a
the
one-act
infection.
play or what? What's going on here?
It's kind of like a cross
I don't
between
know.
the Three Stooges and Samuel Beckett.
And which one are you? Of the
Curly.
Three Stooges? You're curly?
I want
don't
to
see
know
no-
more
I
about.
don't
He
see no
starts
curly.
again.
He's curly. He's got curly hair.
He says he's going to stop, and he starts all over.
I want to know about this infection. What kind of infection do you have?
No, I don't want to know about that. You
It's
want
one
to know
that
about
spreads to radio show hosts.
That's not very good news.
that? I think I'm leaving.
Oh, yeah.
Fortunately, I was sick not that long ago, so I should still be immune.
How could you, in your life, you're a long-lived human being with, what's that, the accent gur over the E or whatever.
It's not the good. It's not the gee.
Googie, go whatever. Hey, we won the war. Now,
You did?
That's a good point.
all these years, all these decades you've been on this earth, and I've been here for, let's see.
Almost as many as mine. As
Probably.
me.
I was born in the 50s.
Yeah, so was
we're
I.
up there like 8 or something. You couldn't go to Paris. I was there when I was 22. I regret never coming back.
Well, you were in the service. Is that how you got to Paris?
No, I got there as my father gave me $500 and a plane ticket. And when I came back, he said, "Why'd you ever come back?" Which is true. Why did I ever come back?
The thing is, little John, you can't go to France today
Little
on
Jean,
$500.
little Jean Claude.
It'll cost you a lot more than $500.
Well, my French wasn't worth a
inflation.
damn. But I'll tell you what, I actually, when I was a young guy, I was either going to join the Marine Corps, but I couldn't. I wanted to join the French Foreign Legion. You know why? Because after 3 years, you get your citizenship. And if you get wounded, you get a citizenship just like that. And then you have the passport.
Just think, you can get a citizenship for life if you're buried in France.
Well, the Foreign Legion was in Africa, and, I probably would have got some
We actually
terrible
have a lot of
infection.
good Americans
who were in the
who fought
Legion.
the war
In the Legion?
who fought the war in France and died, and they're buried in an American cemetery there in France.
Yes, I can tell you one. William Holland of Litchfield. He shared a tent half with my grandfather when they were in the National Guard, which got called up in 1916 because Pancho Villa had been raiding the border, and they federalized the National Guard, got it ready, and parts of it went into Mexico with John Pershing, and then they went into France in 1917. But they got split up, and he died on my grandfather's 21st birthday, October 29th, 1918. What would that be? That's 13 days before the war ends, and he's buried in France. He won the Croix de Guerre. And he's a New Hampshire person buried in France.
Is he buried in Normandy?
No, this is World War One.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm an old fart. Can we say that? Fart?
He said it, I didn't.
Can we say fart?
You can, yes.
We can say fart.
Yes.
We just can't actually, in the climate right now, we actually can't expel a flatus because that would be, insalubrious.
When it's 100 degrees out, it's extremely dangerous, yes.
Yeah, we one of those hangers.
Woo-wee, it's 100 degrees.
I will
Smell
say,
like
John,
City Hall.
You have a good imagination in your...
Imagination? This is all real.
And you can be a good comedian. What's the way you say it? You got a flair about it.
Are you, what are
all
you...
my skills have put me in a low income bracket all my life.
What are you implying?
That I'm gay?
No! What is having a flair about something meaning you're good at what you're doing?
Well, what does it mean?
And
What was
expressing it.
the guy from Ward 2?
Nothing wrong with being gay.
He's a dandy.
Didn't say there was.
I'm not a dandy.
Oh,
Do you
right.
think I'm a dandy?
I'm not accusing you of something that I don't know.
I am wearing
I would
a
never do that.
I'm wearing one of these shirts. What do they call it? Polo shirts. Would you think that makes me a dandy? Is it blue?
I would think it makes you a golfer.
Hey, is Donald Jr. married?
Not
Well,
anymore.
They're getting a divorce, yeah.
She's I can't
They
say that.
are or they have?
She's a very nice woman.
I don't know if they're actually divorced yet. I don't think they are. But
You can't get divorced that quick.
he's with Kimberly Guilfoyle. Is that how you say her
Is
last
she the
name now?
wrestler?
No, she's
No.
She's from Fox News, of
Yeah.
course.
She wrestles just to wrestle all the guys like Sean Hannity and that,
Have you heard that pretty soon it won't be called Fox News anymore?
What's it going to call? Something else that begins with an F?
Trump News.
F?
Trump Network.
I see what you did there.
Just kidding, folks. Don't,
He
don't
was
get
insinuating
It's
that
already hot enough out there, right?
he was
Yes.
insinuating that I was gay. Which did
I
you mean
did
like
not.
bright and happy?
I think that is what he
having
meant.
Peppy?
having a flair about doing something means you're good at what you're doing. It doesn't mean that you're gay
I prefer-
or straight.
Well, why wouldn't you use the word panache?
I didn't use the word panache because it didn't come up to my head.
That's a French word, right?
Panade?
Why shouldn't you use that word panache?
Panache.
Panache.
You know what? I have seen gay Paris.
You have?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen Gay America
I've
yet?
seen Pig Al and the prostitutes were all it was outlawed there. You have to go to Germany.
I think there's a
Actually,
documentary called Gay
today
America.
you had to go to Las Vegas to make it legal, right?
North Las Vegas. Clark
North
County
Las Vegas.
prostitution's illegal.
Really?
Yeah. I kind of know these things.
You would.
It's been a long time though. I'd say
Just kidding. Making some
Not
good
since the 80s.
radio comments.
Never paid.
just an old fart. No, I don't have any money.
I've never paid for sex myself.
That's because you're a lazy and quarrelsome bum.
Oh, come on. Why would you want to pay for something like that anyway?
Because it's worth it.
Wow. Really?
Where are these topics coming from? This is not world and national news.
It is.
But we are learning. I mean, we've learned a lot.
I
so
had to
far
pay
about
for
John
that
Hopwood.
Vesuvian.
We certainly have, haven't we?
Yes.
Jesus.
It's so revealing.
You remember all the bitcoins we brought back from the future?
Yes.
Well, that stash is long gone.
How many times in your life would you say you've, to use a euphemism, paid a Vesuvian?
An actual Vesuvian, or like, let's say, a bipedal
What are you using, a doll?
carbon life form that has XX chromosomes.
Yeah, that. How many times have you paid for it?
Do you count strip clubs?
No. No, unless there was actual...
Once.
Oh, just once? Okay.
I was going to one time in Germany when I took all the young guys, because I was the Bergsergeant, to
Such
the
vile
the
comments.
house, the Dry Farben, which is the house of three colors, which was the cat house. And but I was in love, and I had a guy that was older too, and he had his wife, and we were talking. We're gonna be faithful and everything, and it was only $20. So he said, "All right, let's go." But they'd close. It closes at 10.
I don't believe we're talking like this. Listen, there are any kids out there listening? Cover your ears.
That's just life, Glenn. In Germany, people know that men have to surrender occasionally to the exigencies of love. I mean, in your day, you had to marry your wife, right? And take her disco dancing. Do you know what it's like? Ever since, remember...
I used to enjoy doing disco dancing.
I used to have... Remember that Stormy Daniels doll that got accidentally sent here instead of the White House?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. $5,999.95 or something.
Yes.
I tell you, in some ways, a doll could be considered better than a normal woman.
What are we talking about?
You know, just think about it.
Can't
She never
believe it.
asked you to go disco dancing. I used to have to go, oh, let's go ballroom dancing. We'll take lessons.
Listen, let me tell you something about a doll. I don't want a doll as a partner. Oh, my God, that would be so boring.
Every girl I ever had was called Dolly. And you know that's true. You were with me, future and backward. In order for me, because of my bad memory, they're all called Dolly.
Well, plus, don't usually address them as like, hey, doll, or
hey, doll.
Hey, dame, or...
My mother always called every girlfriend I had Dolly.
Or if they,
I really don't think Trump
Now
would like
I
to have
know
a doll
why.
either. That would be boring for him, too, wouldn't it?
I would think so. Yes.
Holy smokes.
Heidi Hamer joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hello,
Where-
Heidi.
Heidi must
Ask
be
her,
laughing.
Where's Papa?
Really laughing.
Where's Papa, Heidi? Where's Papa?
This sounds like some sort of in-joke.
Where's Papa
Where's
Heidi?
Papa?
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Hey, the John Clayton has gone down.
What do you mean he's gone down? I still see his face.
How come this machine doesn't start anymore?
Because you're
I don't
not
know.
supposed to open it.
Why not?
It's for the morning radio.
Oh, they get privileges that we don't. There's got to be a button that turns. Oh, there we go. Now John Clayton will be in his splendor.
So
Yeah.
there is some news about
Stormy Daniels?
no, our favorite conspiracy theorist, Alex Jones. He has been his empire is crumbling, and I say
Is
that,
it?
and I say that not hyperbolically.
Stumbling or
It
crumbling?
really is?
Yeah, no, it really is, because he depends heavily on YouTube, and YouTube has put the kibosh or kibosh, whichever
Kibosh.
you can put the emphasis on whatever syllable you
Oh,
like.
let's
with that
talk
word.
about Q. I figured out what it's all about.
Well, we'll
We
come
know.
back to it.
But wait, I want to
But,
hear about the YouTube.
Yeah, so they have killed, not literally, but they've killed off Alex Jones. No more Alex Jones on YouTube and Facebook now, which we knew on Friday. Facebook and Spotify has removed him. Apple has removed him.
What's Spotify?
Oh, you don't know what Spotify is? You can stream music on it, but you can also get podcast content.
Yeah.
and-
Now, what is happening seriously with YouTube? They are changing a lot of their rules, and a lot of stuff's not being allowed to go on their channels anymore.
Yeah, Ward
Yeah.
13 anymore.
Are you not allowed to have that either?
No, they've cracked down on me because I refused to send the DNA sample in of me and Dolly.
Right, yeah, which is an odd request, even for Google.
Even for Google.
Yes.
Poor Dolly.
Yeah.
What would they do with your DNA anyway, John?
Particularly after the electric shock. Oh, my God.
Says here, this is from Reuters. The sweeping moves are the broadcast.
Sweepy?
Sweeping are
Weepy.
the broadest actions yet by internet companies that have suspended or removed some of the conspiracy-driven content. Since founding InfoWars in 1999, wow, almost 20 years ago.
1999.
Now, Jones,
19?
what do they run? A
99?
newspaper and radio TV or
It's-
19.
It's just
blog?
InfoWars. He's got a couple sites. So he's got Infowars.com.
Which is all full of lies.
Yes, and
Of
then
course.
and then he has PrisonPlanet.com.
Which he called entertainment. I never heard of Prison Planet. That sounds kind of sexy.
Prison
Ooh.
Planet sounds
Well,
sexy.
Is that like
Oh.
what was the movie with Zsa Zsa Gabor where she's up like on Mars or some planet? Did Bob Hope have to go get her?
I don't know, but Zsa Zsa Gabor was a great
I
comedian.
love Bob Hope,
So
even if he was a
She was
Republican.
a great actor, too.
Facebook
No,
said
that's Ava.
Facebook said it removed the page's quote for glorifying violence, which violates our graphic violence policy,
I agree on that one.
and using dehumanizing language to describe people who are transgender, Muslims, and immigrants, which violates our hate speech policies.
I agree on that one.
InfoWars editor-at-large Paul Joseph Watson said in a tweet here that the broad takedowns amounted to censorship and were intended to help Democrats in the national election this fall.
Can you watch your language? Broad stuff like that, dames, all
yes.
that stuff.
Yes.
Come on, it's 19. What year is it? 2018.
2018,
Something like
supposedly.
Jesus. No, we don't call no broads, no dames, no flails. Stuff. We're not in a 1930s detective novel
It's
here.
the
Matt.
year. It's the year
You
of
know-
our Lord, 2018.
We say in America that we are probably the most sexual of all countries, yet
France says.
we are so fake in advertising
Brazil.
our news when it comes to real sex.
Brazil is a very sexy country.
I think Trump did say something about that in one of his rallies the other night.
did?
He was talking about how we're the most sexual country, and he's making us even more sexual. That's how he's making us great again.
Boys, that's
up at
scary. Is
Lower
that scary?
Lower Slobovia, there's a real place full of sex pots.
I could never understand in today's 2018 when we see TV commercials.
1999, I think.
the year of our Lord.
And they advertise
On the deal.
their products. For example, diapers. The water is blue.
Diapers.
Pads. A woman's pad. The water is blue.
What is
wrong
pad?
with us as Americans? We're so afraid of red and yellow.
Is somebody
We discriminate
pad? Isn't
against
that like,
that?
hey, honey,
Wait.
come over to my pad? You
So
know,
we
which
try
one's
to
like
teach our kids
I wanna-
that commercials are real and the
Dragnet
products are real,
67.
and we show blue instead of yellow and red.
Because I've heard Glenn explain this before. I want to make sure the audience understands exactly what your complaint is.
He's as hip as Jack
So
Webb.
so your complaint, Glenn, is that when you see an ad on television for like Maxipads or something, right?
Pad, Maxipad.
That
Or
that,
your
diapers.
apartments.
that the
Hair nib.
any sort of liquid in the advertisement is represented by a blue liquid, and unless you're some sort of
Are you a Democrat? Is that why you're upset?
unless you're
I'm an independent.
you're some sort of alien, there is no blue liquid to be had.
There is blue blood in certain cephalods, like
I think
the
the
octopus.
point is that we're teaching our kids that we can
Blue-blooded.
watch TV, and a lot of it is fake, let's face it, including the commercials,
You
because
think?
we can't tell the truth. Why would we not tell our kids that urine is yellow, blood is red? Why are we afraid of?
Yeah, but here's what you don't know, Glenn. There are millions of women who take a supplement that actually turns your urine blue. It's called
You are so funny.
Blue-blooded.
It's called the blue pill.
I wanted to, when I had youthful dreams, I was going to become a multi-billionaire, buy the Atlanta Braves, and return them to Boston, but I was going to call them the Blue Sox.
So let me just say this.
Oh.
Fake news may have been enhanced by the new administration, but it wasn't created by Trump.
Have you ever been
It's been around for years.
Have you ever been to Thetford Mines, Quebec?
Yes, I have.
Their team is the Blue Sox. Le Bas Bleu, I guess.
Do they wear blue socks? I hope they do.
Yes, they do.
They should.
Le Bas Bleu. Le Bas Bleu.
Le bas bleu.
Le
Bleu,
bas bleu.
bleu, bleu, bleu.
Bleu.
Bleu is
Bleu.
French. for
Bleu.
By the way, when I mentioned Apple banning Alex Jones, that means iTunes. So in other words, you can't get his podcast
I
on
thought you were talking
iTunes
about the
anymore.
Beatles.
Can you get it on what's your network?
Yeah.
Come on.
So I like pina coladas.
Your network?
My network?
Your radio network?
IPM Nation?
And
Can you get him on
something in the
IPM Nation?
rain.
I should extend an offer to him, except I have no money.
Is
Well,
Roger Stone
How about
still
on,
with him?
on Sirius Radio?
Sirius XM?
Yeah,
I
did
thought they were in the Thurlet.
was he ever on there?
No,
no,
no.
we heard
I don't think so.
Miller play.
They don't have news stations on that network.
They do, but
Yeah.
he used to go on Opie and Anthony once in a while, and that was always funny
Oh,
because he'd take a lot of abuse on there. That was
They were
good stuff.
funny.
Yeah. If you look up, if you go on YouTube, not right now, wait until later, but if you go on YouTube and you just look up Opie and Anthony, Alex Jones, you'll find some real gems.
Well, he's an entertainer.
Would
Matt.
you?
Yeah.
Ever
Oh,
think,
yeah.
Would you ever think of going on the Sirius Radio network?
Hey,
Oh,
I'm
no.
available.
He'd have to take a pay cut.
I will gladly. That's true.
You would?
Yes.
Are they that cheap? Because it costs a lot to get that
I
radio
make
station.
millions
To
of,
get their network, I should say.
That's true. No, I will say publicly.
Scheiße.
I will say if they would like to make me an offer, I will accept it.
You aren't going to refuse it?
You won't get rich on that network, will you?
On Sirius XM?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's definitely not.
Howard
There's-
Stern did.
Well,
Wow.
Howard Stern's and some. He does a lot on the side.
He was
right?
Howard was already rich.
That's
when,
right.
when they offered him
That's
his
right.
deal. But he is the highest paid broadcaster in the history of radio by
Is
far.
he the king of broadcasting?
He's the king of all media.
He's the
Glenn.
new
How dare
king
you?
of broadcasting. He used to be. What was his name?
New king of broadcasting.
Well, the old.
he's in his 60s. He's
who-
not new anymore.
Who was the reporter that when he used to have King
Sander
Live?
Van Oker?
No, King Live. His name was King.
Larry King.
Larry King.
Yeah.
He was the king.
Do you know that Sander Van Oker had an affair with Shirley MacLaine?
What do I care?
Well, you would if you were a Shirley MacLaine fan like I am.
No, Glenn's too wrapped up in this whole blue urine thing.
You're funny.
Well, she was a redhead.
She was a redhead?
Wrapped
Yeah,
up
Shirley
like
Was she a
MacLaine.
true redhead?
Oh yeah, she's Scottish. Her grandfather, or was it grand uncle, was the only communist member of parliament in Canada. They tossed him out because, there was a... Well, let's not get into the KGB,
please, let's not get into that.
GRU, and all that stuff.
So,
it's too
Matt,
depressing.
What's going on with the Paul Monafat? What's his name?
Paul Monafat. He is one of the new wrestlers on WWF.
Rick Gates.
He's quite hefty.
Yes.
Did Rick Gates testify today?
Rick Gates, the alleged coffee boy, is testifying. He is set to testify against Paul Manafort.
You know, that's so funny, Matt, because when they said last week they probably wouldn't need him, I said, yeah, that's just a ploy. He's going to testify.
He is, yep. Well, wouldn't you? Do you want to go to prison for this guy? I mean, you're gonna if you're Rick Gates, you're gonna cut whatever deal you can.
Paul seems to think that it's all Rick's fault.
Oh, actually, it was today.
Yeah, he was working for Rick, was he not?
Oh yeah.
Keep your mouth shut and you'll get a pardon.
Manafort was the coffee supervisor for the campaign, and Rick Gates was the coffee boy.
Did you read what the judge told prosecutors, Mueller's team? You have such a high bar.
Mm-hmm.
He accepted the fact that Manafort likely lied about his control over the accounts that shows the link to the foreign accounts.
Do you think it's
Hey,
likely?
It's a judge we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
So he said, that he likely lied.
Right.
And but he says the bar to proving that is actual, a fraudulent act, a conspiracy to commit fraud, is very, very high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So everybody like on CNN and MSNBC are chortling. They are, which the press does. They're trying the case in the press, and then if somebody gets off, like an OJ or let's say John Connolly, who they had him over the milk fund, but he hired Edward Bennett Williams, the greatest attorney
Fox
of his
is
time.
not trying
He gets
it
off.
in the news? They are as
I
well.
don't watch Fox.
Well, they are as well.
Yeah, but you watch CNN
But I
and
will tell you
MSNBC
something.
and the top heads.
I watch all three, and when all three networks say the same thing, then there's no fake in that part of that news.
Well, it
There's no
it
truth?
certainly makes it less suspect.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's rare that happens, but when it does happen, you say,
Right.
uh-oh.
And what is
I got my three sources.
Right.
What do you talk? First of all, they're television. I would never think of using television as a source for anything. What would you?
No,
what are you saying
what
that
I'm
they have?
saying is that when all the three networks say the same thing, which they don't, when they
But what
say
is
the
it they're
same thing,
saying?
it's more of a chance that it's real.
First of all, a network is driven by advertising.
Well,
we all
that's
know
true,
that.
but more often than none,
But what are you saying
don't
that
get
they agree
What
on?
I'm saying is that these three networks don't agree, and
Well-
when they do, like when Trump
and about what?
when Trump went to Finland, to
Helsinki.
all three networks agreed that what he did was not right to say that he believed
Fox
more.
News said that.
They did.
Actually,
you should have watched my show last week.
You should have watched.
You should have watched my show last week.
I don't watch. I don't
It's
have
going to
television.
air again tomorrow at 1 p.m. if you want to
I
watch
don't have
it.
TV.
You can watch.
They almost cut my power off today.
You can watch it online.
You have to pay for it.
How can you
Pay
ever?
for power.
How can you
Yeah,
ever allow?
that's what I found out.
How can you ever allow yourself to miss an edition of Let It Large Gone Global?
Really?
He never has me on as a guest, so I only watch shows I'm on.
You've been on my show before, years ago, maybe.
I've never been on your show.
You've never been on my show?
You've been on mine twice.
Really? Have I?
Yeah. Yes, you know you have.
Of course I have.
So and so.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what they agree on.
Well, they agreed that
That
what
he committed
Trump
treason?
did was not right.
Well, he committed treason.
Fox. Well, I don't think
they
anyone
didn't
on
use the word.
Fox.
That's
Fox
what
didn't use
people
the word
said on
treason.
MSNBC.
Yes,
Some of them, yeah.
All three networks admitted, or the news people who were doing their shows.
Fox was critical. Yeah.
Yes, very. In fact, if you watch my show, Fox was more critical than the other two stations, which is the rarity.
Mm.
So when Fox starts going against Trump,
That must
will
mean Prince
Trump buy
Bandar
off
is up
the
in
network? He could
or
afford
whoever
it, could he not?
Crown Prince is now.
Bandar Bush.
What
That's
did you say?
That's what the Bush family calls him.
Say that again.
Prince
But
Bandar.
there's a new Crown
Bandar.
Prince.
This is
Yes.
Bandar.
Yeah, Prince Bandar. The Bush family calls him
Yes,
Bandar
yes.
Bush because they're very close. He's like family.
Now, the
I read
Note
the news.
brothers are, why? Are they becoming middle of the road now?
The Koch brothers?
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the Koch brothers is they're more libertarian than they are
They
conservative.
are, and they're showing it right now, aren't
Right,
they?
right.
And Trump's not happy about that, is he?
No.
Who gives an expletive deleted about the Koch brothers?
Well, I'm more of a Pepsi guy myself. Little joke there.
Yeah, but you wouldn't mind having their money, would you, John?
Little levity in the afternoon.
Would you, John?
No, Glenn. If I wanted money, I would have gone to law school.
Oh, you're telling me that only lawyers make money? Doctors make good money.
Edward Bennett Williams had enough money to own part of the Washington Redskins, and he owned the Baltimore Orioles outright.
Good for him, as long as he did it legally.
He was Jimmy Hoffa's attorney.
Oh, that tells
And
me a
John
lot.
Conley.
That
You know how
tells
he got
me a lot.
John Conley out of a rap on the milk fund where he's taking, it was a milk fund, just like Andrew Cuomo later got hit with a milk fund scandal. Edward Bennett Williams was the man to see. He was a Democrat, Irish Catholic. I think he went to Notre Dame, and he knew everybody. He used to have lunch with Earl Warren and lobby him about Supreme Court decisions. He was the most brilliant attorney of his time and the most effective. And he defended Hoffa, where Bobby Kennedy said, I'm going... This was before Bobby was the Attorney General. He was still in one of the congressional committees. If Jimmy Hoffa gets off, I'm going to jump off of the Capitol. So Edward Bennett Williams got Jimmy Hoffa off and sent Bobby Kennedy a parachute. And they're Irish Catholics, so...
But he never jumped off, did he?
But the point is, Glenn, this is 1974 during the Watergate stuff. John Conley was shot at Dallas and wounded. He was sitting in front of JFK, became Nixon's favorite Democrat. And Nixon say, I'd love to make John Conley vice president, but I'm going to keep Agnew because none of the SOBs would they'll impeach me then. You know, it's like you have a lousy vice president when you're a lousy president. So, look at what we have now. Trump's probably preferable to it, but in a different way. So John Conley finally, gets it, and the prosecutor's saying, we've got him. So Edward Bennett Williams was brilliant attorney, and but he got a jury that he wanted. It had several African American women on it, which is unusual in D.C. And he had Billy Graham come as a character witness.
Just wait, we have to clarify.
The Reverend Billy Graham,
not superstar Billy Graham, the wrestler.
The
Because
one
that would have been awesome.
the North Carolina guy, about like 1918, almost made it 100 years old, and the great evangelist. He made evangelism. What do you call it?
Evangelical?
Respectable, because remember, Burt Lancaster won an Oscar playing what was it, Elmer Gantry, and
Really?
thought all
Elmer.
that stuff was on the go out in 1960. So he's got Billy Graham, and Billy Graham comes and gets sworn, and he says, "What's your name?" Billy Graham. He says, "What's your occupation?" "I'm a minister of the gospel." And two of the African American ladies said, "Praise the Lord." And he said, "I knew I had the jury."
Oh, okay.
Because, and they say John Conley, the likelihood John Conley had ever met Billy Graham in his life before Edward Bennett Williams introduces him. And he got him off because there's all sorts of tricks in being a great criminal defense lawyer.
Yes.
So when you're going to convict Manafort, you don't have that conviction yet. And then of course there's the appeals process.
18 counts they have against him.
So what?
They're going to get some of them.
Which
Why
one?
do you think that?
Who's got 18 counts?
Why?
They have 18 counts against
On who?
Manafort.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like
Oh.
a conspiracy
Well,
to commit this,
money
and a conspiracy to
laundering.
commit
Didn't
that.
they charge him on 36 counts total?
36.
It's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt in the criminal.
That's right.
case.
That's what
Or
I'm
these
waiting for.
civil.
I don't
they
think
have
nobody expects them to skate.
So did they have 18 now with no reasonable doubt, you think?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, people who know more about this than I do.
Do you remember
on television?
Do
and
you
in
remember
print
when the
say
judge said
he's
last
Yeah,
stepped
but
down?
they're what you call like Dave Colapinus says. They're TV lawyers.
Right.
Like
Do you,
Lanny
do you
Davis.
remember last
They
week?
don't practice.
Do you remember last week when the judge told the prosecutors and the other defense as well that slow it down and let's not make it a 3-week thing. It's going to last 3 weeks,
Well, no. He's not telling them slow it down. He's saying speed it up.
Speed it
Well,
up.
well,
Yeah.
well, that's what I meant. He meant to take some of the stuff that we don't really need out.
Right. Oh yeah. He's trying
Cut
to
it
hurry
down.
along.
That's what he said.
Right, because what you're saying
it's
is
still going to
just
last 3 weeks.
conviction through sheer volume.
Yeah.
They call it overcharging. You're always
Right.
overcharged.
Still,
yeah.
I still think it's going to last 3 weeks. It looks like that too.
Who's the famous thing? They overcharged the kid who killed that kid down in Florida, like Trayvon Martin or whatever.
Trevor.
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin.
But they
George Zimmerman.
Right, they overcharged him where they could have got him on a lesser charge. That the jury wasn't going to go for anything like murder, or manslaughter.
Yeah.
They might have gone for something else.
That's what they always say too about Casey Anthony. Remember the Casey Anthony?
Yeah.
And
what was that?
and she was accused of killing her daughter.
Yeah.
The one who. Which one was
that?
that?
blonde.
And that was in Florida. But
blonde.
but
they're all blonde.
but after-
they're dames.
but,
so, you know.
but after she
Femme
was
fatales.
after she was acquitted, everyone said the same thing. If they had charged her with a lesser charge, if they had charged her, I think, with manslaughter instead of murder, she would have been convicted.
Right, because then the jury will go down. But you're not. If you go down from murder one or something, you have to be careful. But you got to remember, a prosecutor is doing for their own egos and glory too.
Oh, they were trying to rack up those numbers.
Particularly district attorneys, but this
Yeah.
is something else. This is a U.S. attorney.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, it's time for me to
Well,
depart in about 5 minutes.
Where
I'm
do
gonna
you-
ask,
we'll give
I'm
the
gonna
mic
ask-
over
well,
to you.
Hang on.
I'm going to ask one question.
I got a question for you. Where could you possibly have to be that's more important than Matt Connarton?
I
Unleashed
had
in
to
the
go
afternoon?
home and
Venus.
talk to my son from Sierra Leone.
Yeah, talk to him here.
Yeah,
I was doing that before I got on, remember?
That's true. Yes.
I had been away from the house now for about 6 hours, so
Yes.
I haven't really been listening. I've been editing, so I haven't been listening to the radio or anything or TV.
Has the aardvark
Has
might
Rick
go off.
Gates said anything important that we know of so far?
Don't know yet. I actually, I was just kind of looking at that, but
About the camera in the doll's eye.
What? The
Ooh.
camera and the what?
Oh, that's a different case. Sorry.
oh wow, that would be awesome. No, it says here, like the latest from Reuters is star witness Gates to begin testimony today. Yeah, so we don't know. Probably won't know until the end of the day.
Oh, Jesus.
But
Watch the networks tonight. They'll be spinning it.
yes,
All of them in their own way.
Very exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive.
You know what I watched on Friday night, guys? It was on MSNBC at 9 o'clock. They put on
Rachel
the wa-
Maddow.
instead of having her on, they put on the Watergate, or started at 10. They did the Watergate movie. What was it called?
Oh,
All the kings, all the president's
men. Yeah.
Very
Yes.
good movie.
And you know what? I
Robert
sat there and I
Redford
watched it. I
produced
hadn't
it.
watched it for years. It's still a very compelling movie, isn't it?
William
course.
Goldman, who won an Oscar for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, won an Oscar for
And it
adapting
reminds me so much of what we're going through right now.
Well, yeah, no kidding.
Yes, except you don't have the Supreme Court that they had back then.
Who will Deep Throat turn out to be? In
I
this,
don't know,
in
but
this
you know
case?
what? I still say whatever happens,
Papadopoulos?
I was
the
hoping
truth-
for Ivanka.
The truth will come out. It's coming out, you know.
Ivana.
It really is.
Don't-
Every day.
You pig.
And a
Cochon.
lot of it is being processed.
Possessed?
Perceived.
Possessed.
Perceived.
I'd be dating her.
It's being
I
preceded
would.
by those who are actually saying, I'm innocent, and they're coming out with the truth, not knowing what they're doing.
Well, that's what I do. Like,
Holy smokes.
that's what I've done my entire life.
Look at
I say,
Giuliani.
I claim
Ooh.
I'm innocent.
Is
Have-
Giuliani
you know the
confused
counts?
or what?
No, he's just addled.
He does
If you
have,
had all his money, allegedly,
You know-
if you allegedly had all his money sitting in a Swiss bank account and you really couldn't get it because of all the publicity and
smart
two
as-
ex-wives after
as
you,
smart
you
as-
might be a little addled too.
he does have the crazy eyes.
I
Yes.
remember he said that he was dating a
As
girl with a
smart-
big.
Mm-hmm.
As smart as
a big
Giuliani is,
IQ.
does
Yes.
he not know that the definition of collusion means conspiracy and?
No, he doesn't.
Obviously not.
Well,
Collusion is
And
conspiracy
now
to
it's not
defraud.
illegal to have collusion. Well, but conspiracy is.
I think he does. He's just advocating for his client, and he does it terribly. He ends up making bigger messes than
Is
the ones he tries
Davis
to
doing a
clean
better
up.
job because he's doing the same thing on the other side?
Oh, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
a load of hooey. All
They
these
both
counts.
they both are TV lawyers, really.
Lanny Davis is far more disciplined, though, than
Much
Giuliani.
more.
Yeah, but
Much
Giuliani actually was a successful prosecutor.
He was.
That's true.
For over 20 years.
That is true.
And Lonnie is just a big mouth PR type of TV lawyer.
Do you think?
And now they're both big mouth TV lawyers.
do you think Giuliani?
Lonnie's better at it though.
Maybe
Yeah.
Giuliani's involved in something. His name does end in a vowel.
Count one.
He was very close.
Conspiracy
Hmm.
against the United States.
Conspiracy against the United States.
Ooh, maybe like Aaron Burr, back with
Oh.
Thomas Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a bunch
So
of
isn't it
hooey.
funny how Paul Manafort spent 4 months being the chairman of the Trump campaign, yet Trump this week finally said, "Well, it was only for 2 months," but you go back to
Who's
know.
Coffee Boy?
He said 4 months before.
Coffee Boy.
How come it changes?
No, there's a new update.
Because my mind.
It's called spinning.
No,
It's
there's
the die.
There's an update. Trump tweeted something out
The
earlier
die.
that they hung out for a weekend.
It's come down to a weekend now.
Can you
right?
tell the other
Not
presidential
important anymore.
candidate Paul Manafort worked with while he was an agent of Ukraine? He is an arch enemy of our illustrious president and is a former POW.
John McCain.
John McCain. Manafort worked for him at the same time. He's taking all this loot.
Mm-hmm.
This is an on ongoing thing. If you looked at the people that have any connections to so-called money laundering, come on, you'd be looking at every friggin' big company in the world, practically.
Yeah. Hey, have you heard of the new news?
The new
this
news?
weekend?
No, the fake news? The new fake
this
news or
is
the
real
new
news.
news?
Guess who's
Nude
going to
news.
become one of the president of the NRA?
Who?
Without
Mimi
following-
Van Doren.
Without following the rules. They have a strict rule on how it goes. It takes a long time to get
Pepe
there.
Lamoco?
It's
Is it?
Oliver North.
Oh,
and,
that
and he's so
jackass.
surprised. So on the news, I'm surprised. It says because that's not what they normally do.
well,
But I'll take it.
Here he is.
I read
Of course
about
you'll
that.
take it.
I was reading about that a couple of months ago. Is that finally happening?
It's coming.
Mr. America.
It's not hit the TV news. That's how much it's coming. And he's saying, well, if they give him to me, I'll take it. But normally that's not how they follow it. I'm surprised. Is he really surprised?
Do you still call
Oliver
your-
North?
that device on your wall, whatever, a TV?
Yeah.
T-E, capital T, small case E-E, then a big, capital V, and then the small E-E,
Well,
TV.
I've certainly never written it that way.
Or T
Just capital
dot
T, capital
V
V.
dot.
Yeah.
I don't do dots.
I don't
Because they
do
used to
dots.
write stuff about the TV. And
Are you a
which one-
dot person?
I'm
Some people
very,
call it, if of a certain age and,
Yeah.
and region, the TV.
I'm very anti-punctuation myself.
Should we not reveal on
It's-
this network?
it's
on
un-American.
on your radio show? What is the device they keep saying in the ads on Facebook that the government will put this device on every home by 2020?
An electric
What is that
circumciser.
device?
Oh, my goodness.
Have you heard that yet?
It's a good can opener, too.
Oh, my.
And you can trim your beard, your mustache, and, it's
Well,
really hard around
Man,
here
I'm sure you've
sometimes.
seen it on Facebook.
I haven't seen this. No. Is this
Yeah.
fake news?
I don't know if it's fake or not. I'd like to know what the device is. It's on
circumciser.
advertising on Google and everything else. So what is? But they're not saying what the device is. I've never seen it.
It's a
But this
mysterious
device will
device.
be on every American home by 2020. Well, if they're spying, they're already spying as it is now.
Well, it
Yeah.
wasn't the, what's that, the wheeled device Dean Kamen created that was supposed to revolutionize everything?
I have no idea.
Segway. Which is made in China now. No
I thought
longer
you
big.
pronounced it Segu.
The Segu way.
The Segu.
Yeah,
You know,
the
the
Segu.
last.
Glenn needs one of those.
No.
The last French emperor
No, the
was-
last Segway being built in the greater Manchester area, I believe it's in
In
Bedford
Bedford.
now, is about to lay them all off, and they're all going to China. You're right. China has bought it off.
Yeah, because even with the tariffs, it'll be cheaper.
Wow.
But, they know they're being laid off for the greater good of all of us consumers.
Yes.
I've been laid off 3 times.
Is that part of the Make America Great? By bringing all of our
Ma-
jobs to
Is that
China?
magma?
Are we
MAGA.
bringing all our jobs to China now?
Hashtag MAGA,
I thought-
baby.
I thought MAGA was like pornographic Japanese cartoons.
No, you're thinking of.
I would know. How would you know that?
What?
I have a 14-year-old great nephew. He knows
Oh.
more about stuff like that than I could ever dream
What is
of.
that called? Magna? What is
Magma?
Magma?
Is it magma or magna?
Magma.
What's
as,
your
Dr.
favorite
Evil would
song
say.
from when you were a young man?
I don't know. I had many.
When
of
you were
them.
young, well, I'd say like one of my favorite songs when I was in my late 30s would be "Sunshine of Your Love" by Cream, and I can't tell you a story about that because it has to do with the strip club. But
When it comes to music, I love music. Period. So other than the dirty rap, I
Dirty
love
rap.
music.
When
A
you-
lot of the rap is very
It's
I hate
discriminate
rap.
It's vulgar.
and vulgar.
I
and-
love it.
Gangsta, you hate, or whatever they call it.
Yes.
Hey, now when you and your wife, you must have had a song. My ex and was "Downtown" by Petula Clark. Downtown.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that.
another story I can't fully tell either.
Mm.
What was your and your beloved's song?
Oh, I don't remember.
What was your wedding song?
I don't remember that either.
You don't
What was
remember
the
your
s-
wedding song.
Actually, it was done in 2 languages, French and English.
But you remember that, but you
Well,
don't remember the
Petula
song?
Clark sang in French too. Downtown,
Petula?
you with you downtown,
Petula.
you and me. Oui, oui. Yeah. Oh, Octaliva. Yeah.
Octaliva? You speak German?
Ach Beigen, man,
Now,
Fragen.
what was the song when you and your wife went to the disco dancing concert? Was it something like Discotex and the Sexalettes Get Dancing?
Actually, it was the one on,
See, he can remember this.
what's his name?
Disco
he
Duck.
did the movie about dancing.
Thomas Jefferson?
No.
The
Patrick
Italian
Swayze?
guy.
Patrick Swayze.
No, the one was in the Tarantino movies, Vinnie Barbarino.
Well, it's not the one I
John
liked.
Travolta.
I mean, I
John
liked it, but I
Travolta.
didn't. A joint of Elka, that's who it
You
was.
can tell by the way I use my walk. Was it that?
Wait,
I don't-
Saturday Night Fever was your wedding song?
No.
Or you should get dancing.
When we
You should
disco,
get
we did a lot of
dancing.
Saturday Night Fever songs.
Yes.
Is what I'm saying.
If I Can't Have You is a great song.
Actually,
that's not the
my
Bee Gees.
favorite music when I was in high
You're
school.
wrong. It is the Bee Gees.
It was
well, no,
came
it
close
was
to F-bomb
it
in
was
there.
it was a Von Element on the soundtrack, but the Bee Gees also
If I
recorded a
can't have
version of it.
you.
Yeah.
My favorite, the worst song I've ever heard in my life. I used to have to get up at like 6 o'clock to go pump gas at the alert station over in Granite Square to get some money to go to college. And it was Shadow Dancing. I'd wake up to that song
Andy Gibb.
every bit of the 78.
That's a great song.
While the Red Sox were collapsing against the Yankees.
Well, they're
exact
not-
opposite now.
they're not
Shadow
collapsing now.
Dancing. It's like, oh my God. You know how a song gets in your head and you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
strangle it or anything?
So, guys, I got to go. My son just tweeted me saying your half hour is up. Time's up.
When are you? Give us an update though.
Tell
when
him
are
je
you?
suis love
An
you.
update on what?
When are you going to get him? And have you changed your mind about smuggling back a diamond for me?
I'm not going over there.
It's big
and I'm not
enough.
smuggling anything.
You're not
You don't
going.
have a
It's all
foreskin.
being done through the internet now, through Skype.
You're not going.
Smuggling
no,
through the internet?
Someone put a nail in the coffin by changing the rules in the middle of the term, and I'm not going to wait 2 years to go to court and win my case.
Why not?
You have to ask permission from the government now if you
Government.
adopt a foreign child. It was created by Trump a little over a year ago. Well, I've been at it for 2 years now, so in a court of law, I might win because he wasn't even president then, but I'm not waiting for that. So he's being sent to Dubai. He's being registered in about a week from now. He'll be there. Today, we applied for his visa. I applied for his visa. And he's going to be going to Dubai University for business law.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, he'll be transferring his credits to one of the universities to learn. He wants to be an American lawyer.
How much does it cost to go to Dubai University? Is it free?
Actually, no, it's not free.
How much does it cost a semester then?
It's going to cost me $5,000 for the first year, which is not bad because he's taking business law. Why would I want to take Middle Eastern law if he wants to become an American lawyer? So business law is universal. We all use that.
American lawyer.
So he'll take business law for 1 year, then he'll be taking.
Why doesn't
the
he
law
just
school
wait
here.
till he gets here? How old is he? 18?
He's going to be 18 the 8th of September. So that's why the adoption is going to be finalized tomorrow in Sierra Leone.
Just in time. It's like you're skating in under the deadline.
Why don't you? If
Well,
he's-
I've been working on it for 2 years. It doesn't happen overnight.
It's been only 2 years. Wow. Now, so does this mean you won't be able to smuggle me a diamond? Is that what you're
I
saying?
wouldn't if you wanted me to.
I was kind of hoping you were
I
kidding and that you really would.
No, that's not my style.
You just put it
why
in
doesn't
like
he
a
just
body
go to
cavity.
France?
Well, go to France for what?
Go somewhere. Why doesn't he just go somewhere and become a refugee? Declare refugee status?
No. He's not a refugee.
Why is he going to Dubai?
Because that's where we're going. I have a sponsor family there, and it's a long story, and I'm not going to tell you the story.
I want to acknowledge, because this is someone you know, Glenn, Chris Rose joins us in the Facebook live chat.
Yeah, hi,
So
Chris.
hello, Chris. And Steve Gott also in the Facebook live chat.
Gott means
Welcome back,
God
Steve.
in German.
Gott means God? Wow.
Gott in Himmel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm fluent in German.
Oh.
Wo ist der Bahnhof?
Akbeigen Manfragen. That's
Oh,
the
Well,
only
on that
German I
note,
know.
Oui,
I'll have
oui,
to say
oui,
au revoir,
monsieur.
and thanks for inviting me, and we'll see you soon
What-
again.
What did you call us?
When are you coming back from Dubai?
I'm not going to Dubai till the day after. I'm flying out the day after Christmas.
Wait, I thought you weren't going at all. I'm confused. I thought
No,
you
I
weren't
said I
going.
wasn't going to Africa.
Oh.
I'm going to go visit my son and
Which university is it?
Dubai University.
Well, there's different ones in Dubai.
Well, this one's called Dubai University.
Middlesex University in Dubai.
That's Middlesex. I said Dubai University.
Ed Barber in Dubai.
Speaking of Africa, do you have any thoughts on Weezer's cover of Africa by Toto? I love it.
No commento.
Do you bless the rains down in Africa?
Oh, Ed Arabia, excuse me.
Do you bless the rains?
Have you been blessing the rains we've had here lately?
Yes.
Boy, has it
every
rained.
time it starts raining, I say, God bless it, it's raining. Damn it.
There are
It's-
5 public universities.
Has it been raining men Saturday and Friday?
It's raining, man.
Does not rain. No, God, that would be blasphemous. How dare you?
It's-
Raining
well, who wrote
men?
the song?
Hallelujah. The
Weather
whatchamacallit
Girls.
ladies.
Yes, yes.
What was the other girls? I met the guy that was did the sets for that video.
Oh,
in
really?
New York.
Did you
It
know
was
the
a long time
Weather
ago.
Girls were not originally called the Weather Girls? They were called something else, but they changed their name because everyone kept getting confused because they say at the beginning of the song, "We're your Weather Girls." So everyone thought they were called the Weather Girls. I
What
forget
were they called?
I don't remember what they were originally called.
I don't
think,
either.
I
Do
think
you,
it was
John?
I think it was just their names, but then they changed.
The Weather Girls.
They ended
No,
up
before that.
they ended up changing it.
They changed it. So what was it before that?
I don't know.
There doesn't seem to be any university called the Dubai University.
Was the University of Dubai then?
It just doesn't have it.
Anyway, I
This
will
is a
find out
list.
soon because I'm getting the application. So
Maybe we should start our own university.
No.
In Dubai.
Why don't
really?
we? Why
you
don't
can't
we?
do that in America. It's not
Well,
an
this
American
is the
country.
list of the 25 best universities.
I'm so sorry.
We should start a diploma mill. There's good money in that. I mean, it's fraud, but whatever. I mean,
Why
hey,
is it fraud?
Hey, Trump had Trump University, and he went on to be president.
And he ended up paying $250,000, $250,000 without going to court because he couldn't afford. Not because he couldn't afford to go to court. He had no time to go to court because he was president.
You know, there are all
So he
sorts,
settled.
That's true.
Even though he said he's still innocent, he settled.
There's all sorts of American, which is common because you don't want to go through the
Of course.
deleterious.
It's one way of saying I'm not guilty and they never proved it, but I paid off the dash.
That's right.
There
yes.
are American universities with campuses in Dubai, like University of Michigan, which is a great school. But there's nothing I can see that actually
There's a
says
University
it's
of
University
Michigan
of
in Dubai?
Oh yeah.
Really?
There's the United Arab Emirates University.
I'm sure there is. That's where they're going.
But I don't see any.
That country.
No, the UAE is not Dubai.
No,
It is Abu
it's the
Dhabi.
country that Dubai is in.
Michigan State University, Dubai, which isn't the University of Michigan.
Dubai
but
is
they're
not a
good
country.
school.
It's part of it.
It's an emirate. It's a
Yes.
principality.
Yes. Oh my God! Where did you find that?
Training
Is that the Weather
Dolly.
Girls that are doing that?
Yes. the
Training
Weather Girls.
Dollies.
Okay.
There's the American
On that, I
College
say
in
bye-bye.
Dubai.
Au revoir. Enjoy the weather. We'll see you again soon.
American University in
All right,
Dubai.
Glenn. Thank you.
Rochester Institute of
You're welcome.
Technology in Dubai. University of South Wales in Dubai. That's where the Hopwoods
Well,
are.
we're
from
not going to
Hopwood,
South
which is
Wales.
near South Wales. Well, it's not really beautiful.
It is beautiful, I guess.
Well, it is Aberystwyth and at the coast, but it's a different. If you're really into a rugged, like Cliffs of Moher type of thing. Well, that's our own.
You into that?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love those craggy coasts. You ever been to California and seen the coast?
No, I visited California through video, and that's it.
There's the Dubai
I haven't
College
had
of
the
Tourism.
privilege of traveling that you have.
Why don't you give me the $5,000 and I'll tutor the kid?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. On business law, where are your credentials?
Oh, I've run many businesses into the ground. That just
Oh,
look at
did you?
I can get up to be the next Trump.
Thank you for giving me your credentials. There's no way I'm paying you $5,000.
There's
tutor
the-
him.
How dare you?
There's the Brela Institute of Technology and Science, but that's in Plani.
I
Oh,
wouldn't
whatever the
even
hell
give
that means.
Trump $5,000 to tutor him.
Wow.
There's the Modal University at Dubai. Put International Business School.
I wouldn't give it to Hillary either, to be fair about it. I'm an independent, remember?
That's
I
right,
was ready
yes.
to give everything to Hillary. Or was that Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
I think from what you told me, that was Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who personally I don't find her attractive. I think she looks
You
like
weren't
a
drunk.
I think she looks like a Muppet.
Who was drunk?
I was.
I call her. That's why I call her Muppet Head.
All right, bye.
Made a
guys,
fool
bye-bye.
of myself.
I hate to engage in ad hominems. Glenn R.J. Willett leaves us, and you know what? It's the
You're
top
at
of the
a
hour.
Canadian university. You could be. You're part Canadian, right? You could send her to the Canadian University. Yeah, oh, my French is coming in now. Or I'm having a stroke.
Yeah, it's still on. You're
not-
having a stroke?
I'm not Canuck. I'm Maricano.
A
You
what?
have a Canadian passport. You could get him into the Canadian University at Dubai.
You've heard of African American? Well, if you're Canadian American, that's another. Isn't that another slang
That's
word?
Cando American.
Well, in
Cando.
French,
We're
it's a
politically correct
Canuck
there.
Americano.
Wait, are you claiming to be African Canadian? Is that what you just said?
To be Canadian American.
Oh, I get confused.
Cando American. Cando.
Candle? I don't like candles because they may start a fire.
Oh my goodness!
It's already hot out there.
It is.
We're going to send you to Syria
Woo-wee, it's 100 degrees.
to be a translator.
All right, bye, Glenn. The People's Mayor leaves us. It's the top of the hour, so I think we'll play a song. And you know what? In honor of Glenn R.J. Willett, and I'll have to mute the Facebook Live audio for a moment so I don't get in trouble as I play this. So if you're
you
listening
gonna
on
lip
Facebook,
sync?
we'll be right back. everybody. Welcome. It's hour number 2. Matt Connarton, Unleashed in the Afternoon. We are live on WMNH 95.3 FM, emanating from, it's 100 degrees out, hot downtown Manchester. If you're just joining us, as I said at the top of the show, with this heat, we're all Southerners now. Hence the woo-wee. I'm thinking about even talking about eating chitlins or something, which I think is I don't even know what that is.
Chitterlings?
What's the other thing?
Chitterlings are hog intestines.
Grits. I'm thinking about eating some grits.
Great. I love grits.
I have no idea what grits are, but I do know when I was a kid, Flo would often tell Mel on Alice to kiss my grits.
I love grits.
Well,
they have no taste. You have to add stuff.
Well, that's disappointing. I don't want to add anything to anything. I don't even cook. I just want to eat them.
Am I going to do my mea culpa now?
Mea culpa for what?
There is a University of Dubai, we found out.
Aha!
Well, but we can't find what the actual tuition is.
You were skeptical.
Weren't you?
No! When Glenn RJ will, whatever Glenn says, I take as gospel. The gospel truth.
Well, he is a marvelous dancer and a wonderful singer.
He certainly is. And I remember him dancing often to the original Africa by Toto many a night at Studio 54. Paul Cormier and I would just watch in awe.
That was with Pierre Trudeau's mother. Was up there
obviously.
With Nick and that guy, the kid, the cocaine dealer that Albert Goldman wrote about.
Those were exciting times.
Oh, I was just the last. How old was I in 1977? Probably 17. I was only 17.
I was only 5, but I was quite precocious for my age.
Virginal.
Well, I can't speak to that.
Had hair then, blonde hair.
Oh, right.
Wasn't as fat. Had the world and the future ahead of me, which right now it's like.
Hey, you're ex-military. What do you think of this? According to Reuters, a U.S. judge has barred Trump's policy restricting transgender troops. I'd actually forgot this was even going on.
We got the whole world in his hands.
Who does, Trump? Apparently not.
I think that the President of the United States is Commander-in-Chief, even though this one's kind of a wacko, has to be deferred to a certain degree.
So you support the ban?
I have no comment on the justice of it. I am going to say that as a Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States is pretty much deferred to in matters of like this.
Well, in this instance, our Commander-in-Chief has been denied. It says here, a U.S. court today ruled the Trump administration could not enforce an updated policy barring certain transgender people from serving in the military, becoming the second court in the country to rule against the government since it unveiled the policy in March.
It'll go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, yes, and they'll side with Trump.
I don't know if they will or not, because
well, they may.
Roberts has been liberal when it comes to gay rights.
Good point.
I never thought gay marriage, any Supreme Court would put it through. But, I remember The Economist having a cover story of 15 years ago saying it's a very conservative policy, a libertarian, conservative and libertarian marriage.
Yes.
Which is a crock anyways.
Marriages or just, what do you mean?
I remember a friend of mine, we were talking about gay marriage.
Yes.
His brother was gay, and his mother had been gay, too.
Oh.
And he was saying, and he was on his third wife. So
yeah.
It's just, if it's anything, it's a boon to divorce attorneys. But, that's all we're going to say in public.
Follow the money.
You know what I mean? You're going to err on... there's no... I look up Dubai University tuition, and I can't get anything. There is the Murdoch University of Dubai. What do you think that has anything to do with Rupert Murdoch of Fox News?
Oh, I don't know. It could be
a branch of Murdoch University Perth, Australia.
Murdoch is a common name. Oh, the Murdochs are Australian, though. So
Sir Walter Murdoch.
Oh.
I don't think that's old.
He
was a... Oh, geez. I don't have enough... spit to really get the sibilance going. Now he's not related to he is. Rupert Murdoch was his grandnephew.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't that slay your keister?
It sure does.
Oh, are we talking about transgendered people?
Yes, it says here, according to Reuters, Trump announced all the way back on March 23rd
Reuters.
that he announced it via Twitter that he would endorse a plan by Defense Secretary James Mattis to restrict the military service of transgender people who experience a condition called gender dysphoria. The policy replaced an outright ban on transgender service members that Trump announced last year on Twitter. Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Citing concern over military focus and medical costs, U.S. District Judge Colleen Collar-Cottley in Washington denied by the administration to lift an injunction that she had issued against Trump's original ban. The ruling follows one by a federal judge in Seattle who in April also refused to allow the new policy to go into effect.
Which is Ninth Circuit. So what's this judge? Where was the judge located?
Looking.
See, this is only going to apply to their circuits.
Yeah.
The D.C. Court of Appeals?
I don't know. I don't see where it says. So the administration argued that the new policy, which also bars anyone who requires or has undergone gender transition, was no longer a categorical ban. Collar-Cottley disagreed. The new policy effectively implements the original ban, quote, by targeting proxies of transgender status, such as gender dysphoria and gender transition, and by requiring all service members to serve in their biological sex, unquote, she wrote in her ruling. This just happened today. The U.S. Department of Justice could not immediately be reached for comment. The American Psychiatric Association defines gender dysphoria as a, quote, clinically significant distress, unquote, due to a conflict between a person's gender identity and their sex assigned at birth. Not all transgender people suffer from gender dysphoria, according to the association, which opposes the military ban. Today's ruling came in a lawsuit filed last August by several aspiring service troops and current members of the U.S. Army, Air Force, and Coast Guard. Last October, Collar-Cottley ruled that the original ban likely violated the U.S. Constitution's guarantee of equal protection under the law. 3 more judges also blocked the ban, forcing the military to permit openly transgender individuals to join the ranks. Trump's ban reversed Democratic former President Barack Obama's policy of allowing transgender troops to serve openly and receive medical care to transition genders. The new Trump policy exempts those diagnosed with gender dysphoria during the Obama policy, allowing them to remain in the military and serve according to their gender identity. Well, so at least the revised policy wouldn't actually boot anybody out.
They say in Gerald Wikipedia that all transgender people don't have that.
Yeah.
So, but this is the DSM-5, which is like a. Let's not get to that. DSM-5.
You know what I just?
Most people. There's great criticism of it, of the DSM-5.
Oh, it's very controversial.
And
you know what I just thought of though? That's kind of awesome. Think about this. Someday, Glenn's own son, his flesh and blood, well, adoptive, might be arguing in front of the Supreme Court these very matters after Glenn puts him through law school.
Why the fuss over the DSM-5? New York Times. Oh, jeez.
Can you imagine that, John Hopwood? We just sat in a room with someone whose African son may someday argue in front of the Supreme Court.
Do you know how many?
Isn't that exciting?
You know how many different diagnoses I've had from like the Veterans Administration, and you move from one place to another, hang a new one on you. You know?
Yes.
It's like you might as well call it. These are just billing classifications.
Perhaps one of Glenn's adoptive sons will be a doctor and work for the VA. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Since the military is a workfare program, and it's quite different than what a military should be. Everybody should be in it.
You think everyone should be in the military?
Voyeur, if you're a voyeur and have other paraphilias, weren't supposed to be in the military. You like to peep and stuff like that.
Why would you bring that up? What are you saying? What are you accusing me of?
Well, I was reading the thing that Obama overturned. It was about paraphilia.
Oh.
Paraphilia is all sorts of like disorder, psychosexual problems that, up till 1973, the American, Psychiatric Association considered homosexuality to be mental illness.
Yes. Oh, I know. Yeah. I know, yeah. Very controversial.
Yetis weren't even considered Well, we still don't quite consider them Homo sapiens sapiens, which is, more power to Yetis.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've got the
Hitting
razors.
Hitting a little close to home with that.
I don't know. They talk about this, and then it'll work its way to the Supreme Court, and they'll decide. And usually, the commander-in-chief is deferred to. But like when we talk about the Japanese internment, there was a difference in the cases and the decisions in 1942 than there is in 44. And when Roberts was denouncing, what was that decision? Jeez, I used to have all this stuff at the tip of my tongue. When he was giving Trump the ability to put a ban, which is based on religion, and he's sugarcoating it by denouncing one of the 1944 case concerning the legitimacy of the internment of the Japanese. There was a case that was decided that day, too, Edo versus United States, which if you were loyal to the United States, you weren't subject. And we forget about that one because it's just not as juiced up.
Yes.
It's like we were talking Friday, I looked into it about the, jury nullification. Somebody like David Bazelon, one of the greatest justices that was never on the court, says, of course we do. And he was one of the judges on the District Court of Appeals. Warren Burger, who was his nemesis, went to the Supreme Court as Chief Justice after Earl Warren retired. But we found out now the 2012 law allowing jury nullification, a judge to talk and the defense to bring it up, was thrown out by the New Hampshire Supreme Court. But now we got a 2016 law that tries to answer the Supreme Court of New Hampshire's objections.
Mm-hmm.
So the law, we read these things like there's injunctions, this, that, and the other thing.
Well, it's like you were saying earlier, because you and Jenny were kind of arguing about that the other day.
Because we really didn't know what
you were both right in a,
we were both,
sense. Yeah,
I said we were both right.
Yeah,
because then it got passed again, and I never doubted that she's right. That a jury does have that right, but judges want to do what they want to do.
Yes,
and they can be our system of law, and who knows how this will work its way out. And look at what we have for a president of the United States. You know what I mean? It's like that they would even, but Roberts deferred to him because, let's look at it this way. Remember, the first bans were they were different. Like the Ninth Circuit, it was probably in Seattle too, and a couple other courts said, "Oh no, we can't do this," and we put an injunction, which is that area, and. It would be understood by Beauregard, the Attorney General, that you don't go forward and as this is going to be adjudicated. So remember, then they kept rewriting, they rewrote the law, and then it passed the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court used an expedited way to hear the law. Who knows how this will play out?
Well, we have, speaking of Jenny, she just sent me a story, and you know how passionate I am about the war on drugs and my opposition to it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, check this out. This is from the New York Post. Police chief overdoses on drugs stolen from an evidence room.
Yeah. I wonder how that happened. Well, those drugs are awful powerful.
Yes.
They can just seep.
This poor drug warrior, sampling some of the product, says here the police chief of a tiny Ohio village fatally overdosed on drugs he stole from his department's evidence room, authorities believe. Investigators found packages of fentanyl, heroin, and LSD in the home of Kirkersville Police Chief James Hughes Jr. after he was found not breathing in a bathroom. Lieutenant Ron Wright of the nearby Reynoldsburg Police Department said, according to a local NBC station. All signs suggest the drugs had been previously seized by cops and stored in the Kirkersville Police Department's evidence room, Wright said. He said on Wednesday, quote, there was packaging that indicated that he was taking controlled substances from there, unquote. Hughes, age 35, was pronounced dead shortly after an ambulance crew responded to his home in Reynoldsburg around 11 a.m. In addition to the illegal drugs, cops found 3 syringes, one of which contained fentanyl, and one which had traces of the powerful opioid. An autopsy released last month said he died accidentally of acute intoxication by fentanyl. Hughes was named the part-time $14 an hour, well, you get what you pay for, $14 an hour chief of Kirkersville Police Force in March, replacing ex-chief Jeff Finley, who abruptly resigned over conflicts with Mayor Terry Ashcraft. An investigation by the Newark, Ohio Advocate newspaper later revealed Hughes had a checkered past that included allegations of a relationship with a woman who served time in the Fairfield County Jail in Ohio while he worked for the county sheriff's office. He also pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor in June of 2013 in an incident during which he used racial slurs and spit at a worker in the drive-through window at a fast food restaurant in Whitehall, Ohio, according to USA Today. Following Hughes' death, his wife Amanda, with whom he was raising 3 young children, created a GoFundMe page to raise $12,000 for funeral expenses, but less than $1,000 had been donated. So there you go. Another fallen hero in the war on drugs, which I argue is actually a war against the American citizenry. So, not to make light of his terrible, tragic death or anything, but I don't really feel that badly for him.
Oh, what a bunch of expletive deleted, you know?
I know, right?
But it's a big bit, you know? Drugs, fighting drugs, rehabbing everybody, all big industries. Drugs itself, legal and illegal. Oh, Jesus, the war on drugs that Nixon started when the Federal Narcotics Bureau was changed into the DEA. I mean, they blow more money than, I was going to say the Department. Yeah. Nobody could blow more money than the Department of Defense. And it's you know.
Although, to be fair, I mean, Elvis did try to help Nixon with the war on drugs. He tried to do his part.
He wanted that badge.
That's right.
And he tried to turn in the Beatles. He was bad at them.
Have you seen the movie? What the hell is the movie
very
called?
Good.
You didn't like it? You know the movie I'm talking about?
Yeah, I got it on Blu-ray if you want to watch it.
Well, no, I've seen it. I can't remember what it's called now.
Elvis and Nixon or something like that.
Oh,
it
yeah.
Had, who's banned now from ever being an actor again.
Or was it Nixon and the King? Or something like that.
I don't know.
Or Elvis and...
We could do a dramatic reading of my play with Audie Murphy and Nixon, which they also met.
Oh, that's right, though. You're right about... Kevin Spacey was...
Nixon.
Was Nixon in the movie.
The guy who played Elvis was terrible, and it wasn't a good movie.
See, I liked it. I mean, it was...
Stoned?
No, it was understated. Like, it wasn't like this, you know...
When was Elvis ever understated? Like, I guess when he was sleeping.
No, but I mean the movie.
Evacuate his bowels.
Jeez.
The best actor that ever played Elvis was the young Kurt Russell. He had it perfect.
Elvis and Nixon is the name of the movie. I recommend it. I actually really liked it.
Sucks. Stinks.
Well,
we can raise money if you want to show it.
It does only have 3 out of 5 stars on IMDb.
IMDb goes with a rating of 10. How can it be 3 out of 5?
3 out of 5, according to this.
They don't do IMDb. I should know about IMDb. I've written over 600 biographies.
Well, I just Googled it, and that's how it came up. Let me. Now I'm actually on the
Google's
IMDb.
fake news.
No, you're right. Because if I click the link and go to the actual IMDb website,
5.6?
It's 6.4.
And that's 3 stars. 3 out of 5.
Maybe I'm reading this wrong. I only see 1 star.
And now it's down to 1.
This is
confusing.
That's
an individual. I'm not looking, but you're looking at an individual review. They've just given it 1 star.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so it's 6.4.
Hey, I was just reading quickly a blog, and they say, the transgendered soldiers will win because there was all sorts of research. We'll see. Trump hasn't issued he hasn't even issued an executive order, I guess, yet stopping them.
He just put it out on Twitter.
Yeah, it's just tweets. They keep losing and losing and losing, one after the other. And the Department of Defense did research over years, and they say it's okay. It's fine with me. I don't see how it would disrupt the military. Not in 2018.
Right.
1948 or even 90. No. But so we see how he works. You know, he talks a lot and he doesn't do certain things.
Right.
And
well, isn't that what we expect of our leaders?
that keeps the boobs going. And then he just says they stopped me in some type of deep state conspiracy. I tried to do it, and Q is going to defend me. You realize what Q's all about, don't you?
Q, of course, played by the great John Delancey. In the final episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Q turns out to be not so bad.
A Q security clearance is a Department of Energy clearance. It's like equivalent to what I had, top secret.
I view the world through the lens of Star Trek. I'm a bit of a Trekkie. I apologize. Yes.
Now, what president had a problem with the Department of Energy where a foreign country, a former a FBI director, all but accused him publicly of accepting money from a foreign power and allowing said foreign power to take our nuclear power secrets, which they did get, from a Department of Energy facility. I'll give you a clue. It was around the mid-'90s.
Well, I believe in one of the Star Trek novels that came out in the mid-'90s, Riker does ultimately ascend to the presidency.
Well, we're talking about Bill Clinton.
Oh, right, yes.
Louis Freeh, who was the head of the FBI, who hated Clinton's guts.
Yes.
A botched arrest of a Chinese American who was alleged to have facilitated the transfer of up-to-date information of our warheads to the Chinese from the Lawrence Livermore lab. And there's no doubt that the Chinese got our designs, there's no doubt about it. And Free wanted to link it to Chinese-American bundling of cash that went to the Clinton campaign. He didn't succeed. The arrest and prosecution of that Chinese-American was a debacle. So they haven't even put him in a dungeon.
So this is
Q
real?
clearance. I've told you before, I don't understand why nobody's talking about the Clinton and Louis Freeh. It's all there. And it makes sense because what happened with Trump, we had it happen over 20 years ago.
Well, the
yes,
reason...
of course what I've said, I like to have my fun with dollies and stuff.
Well, no, but what's
what's
interesting about that to me is I have
Q clearance.
I have heard
Q clearance.
I have heard this story talked about in the secrets and whatnot, but it's usually in the past I've always heard like conservative talk show hosts talk about it and sort of put it out there as a conspiracy theory, but you're saying this is legit.
How is it a conspiracy theory? It was all in the New York Times. There's books written about it. I can bring the book in tomorrow and show it to you, although I don't want to bore your viewers.
Well, because a lot of liberal media has tried to discredit this, but you're saying this is legit.
Did you know, until we were talking to Dave Colapinto, that Paula Jones got $900,000 from Clinton? I never heard that.
I didn't know that either until we talked to Dave.
Linda Tripp won a sizable settlement. I think I signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Mm-hmm.
A very sizable settlement. She was harassed.
Oh, yeah.
She got death threats.
Absolutely.
What you think you know about Linda Tripp, you don't know. And Lanny Davis was one of the people that pilloried them. They try you in the media, and they try to destroy you. I've had stuff here locally that's written about me that's false.
Yeah,
and
Linda Tripp.
No way to correct it.
She was largely portrayed as a villain.
That's right.
Yeah,
and that's not true. But I can't talk to you about it. Honestly, I really can't. Not only did I sign a non-disclosure agreement, the man was a friend of mine too.
Oh my goodness. Jenny just sent me something. This is very exciting. This kind of reminds me of, it's a similar situation to, not to name drop and brag, but my close personal friend, my BFF, Dennis Rodman, who, of course, I think is largely responsible for the great relations that our president has with Kim Jong-un. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
He did like those trinkets you brought back from the future.
Yes, he loved them.
That had his portrait on it. That was very cunning of you to get them to,
Well, I want to stay on his good side because he takes me places. But
you can call it that.
He is not the only celebrity who has made inroads and who is making improvements in the world. According to AmericanMilitaryNews.com, Jenny sent me this story. Russia appoints actor Steven Seagal special rep to improve U.S. relations. Who better to do this than Steven Seagal?
Who does he still pretend he's not Jewish?
Steven Seagal?
Yeah, because he's Katie Seagal's sister, who was Al Bundy's wife, Peggy, who doesn't hide the fact she's Jewish. But Steven Seagal used to pretend he wasn't Jewish.
They're related?
Oh, yeah, they're brother and sister.
I never knew that.
You didn't?
I had no idea. I'll be damned. Okay. It says here, Russia took an unusual position when it appointed American actor Steven Seagal with a diplomatic mission over the weekend. Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced that it appointed Seagal as a special representative on humanitarian relations between Russia and the U.S. The unpaid position, well, he does make a lot of money acting.
When's he last been in an acting job?
Oh, dude, he pumps out like 4 movies a year. They're just all direct to DVD.
To DVD? What about YouTube?
Well, that too. The unpaid position is likened to goodwill ambassador roles at the UN. Seagal will collaborate with officials in the development and implementation of various projects for bilateral cooperation in the field of culture, arts, science, education, sports, public, and youth exchanges, the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs said. The statement added that the appointment serves, quote, the purpose of strengthening direct contacts, mutual understanding, and trust between the Russian and American peoples, unquote. You know what's wonderful about this is, because I worry about us getting into a bad situation in Syria with the Russians, somebody's plane accidentally getting shot down or whatnot.
Oh, wow.
I think Steven Seagal will help keep things on track. And I don't know if you knew this about Seagal, but he acquired Russian citizenship in 2016 and is considered a close friend of Russian President Vladimir Putin. He reportedly attended Putin's inauguration in May. Following the announcement, Seagal made this statement on Twitter, quote, I am deeply humbled and honored to have been appointed as a special representative of the Russian Foreign Ministry in charge of Russian and American humanitarian ties. That's a mouthful. I hope we can strive for peace, harmony, and positive results in the world. I take this honor very seriously, unquote. And if you don't take it seriously, I'll karate chop you.
I'll tell you what, though, that's what I thought, that they were related, because that's what this is before the internet when I was out in California, but they're not related.
Yeah, I
She's
didn't think so.
Actually, Boris Seagal's daughter. Boris Seagal, who was a very successful television director. He directed Peter Gunn amongst the. I think he won. He was an Emmy winner, but because people before you had the internet, there was little you could find out. That's where somebody like me was invaluable because I could remember so much stuff.
Yes.
Well, I remembered this one wrong.
Yes.
Thank God for the internet.
Yes.
It bankrupted me, but that's your.
That's capitalism, baby.
Society's benefit is me going into the crapper.
Says here, Seagal has been a staunch defender of Putin and his policies. Oh, I think Robert Mueller is going to be paying somebody a visit.
I doubt it.
Including the 2014 annexation of Crimea and criticisms against the U.S. He reportedly called Putin a great-willed leader and a brilliant tactician. I've heard that said about Putin on Fox News. Ukraine banned Seagal from entering the country for 5 years due to national security concerns, Radio Free Europe reported. Last year, he spoke with Piers Morgan on Good Morning Britain, during which he criticized those who blamed Russia for the 2016 U.S. presidential election hacking. He said, quote, for anyone to think Vladimir Putin had anything to do with fixing the elections or even that the Russians have that kind of technology is stupid. And this kind of propaganda is really a diversion so that people in the United States of America won't really see what's happening, unquote.
You know that he's the seventh Dan in Aikido, which is depressing because I used to think a lot of Aikido.
Oh, he's legit. No,
Yeah,
Seagal is a legit. I mean, we make fun of him, but no, he is a legit badass.
Yeah, but I was just having some Dan noodles the other day. Now they'll never be the same to me.
Well, next time you eat them, you can think about Steven Seagal.
Well, they were frozen in a meal. They weren't quite what you'd get on the West Coast, but what can you do? Aikido, I always thought, was something that it led you to enlightenment. Like of the martial arts, it's one of the most intellectual and spiritual. Now this loghead, who's Serbian and Russian, I guess he isn't Jewish, but that's how people would say, this one's related to this one's related to that. They used to say that Jack Warden was Jewish. We had a big thing when I was with, Internet Movie Database, Wikipedia, and the Academy. We were trying to figure out, but But he just said he was. But we won't go into that. But, Jack Warden was a great character actor, nominated twice for the Oscar. He played Julie Christie's lover in Shampoo. But you've seen him a million times. But there was all sorts of things. Walter Matthau used to say that his father was a defrocked Orthodox priest. But he was actually Jewish. But the things people used to be able to say about themselves, because, why not, huh?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Back when I first started playing in bands, I used to lie about my age.
Well, who wants to hire somebody that's 147 or 347, whatever you whippersnappers are?
That's right. But I had to give up on that because, it's just ridiculously easy to find out how old someone actually is.
I don't see why you're so upset about the fact because you can't get a passport, that you still travel internationally. So what if it's in a carrier in the hold of a plane?
Well, some would argue that it's a bit inhumane, and I hope that someday us Yeti Americans will have the same rights to, look, I don't need to be in first class, but I would like to at least be able to breathe and not have to sit in my own poop.
Well, it is cheaper.
Well, yeah, it is cheaper.
You go into hibernation or whatever it is you do.
What was that sound? Was that your phone? What did I just hear?
I think it was Dolly's calling.
Oh, jeepers. Hey, according to, this is also from American Military News, an armed citizen took down a shooter at a back-to-school event. Jesus. What?
No comment.
Over the weekend, a shooter was stopped at a local back-to-school event in Titusville, Florida park, thanks to an armed bystander. After a fistfight broke out at the event, an individual returned to the park with a firearm and opened fire just after 5:20 p.m. WFTV reported the event.
WTF?
WFTV.
Well, that's the Transylvania Women's Wrestling Foundation, right?
Yes,
that's
it
what
is.
Melania used to belong to.
Of course.
I thought you said WTF.
Oh, yes.
Was the the
well, I may have said that. I do believe I'm suffering from adult onset dyslexia.
Me too, baby.
Yes. The event was live streamed by Dwight Harvey, a family member at the event's organizer.
Grandnephew.
The video shows children and parents looking through backpacks filled with school supplies. Suddenly, 12 gunshots were heard, sending the crowd scattering. A bystander at the event withdrew their own firearm and returned fire on the shooter. The bystander was licensed to carry the firearm and was said to have fully cooperated with law enforcement's investigation. My goodness.
Hey, did you hear they've sanctioned a sorority at Harvard? They'd rather disband than go co-ed. That's not very game of them.
Are they economic sanctions? Was this sorority developing? Are they developing nuclear weapons? Is that the issue? So they had to be sanctioned.
Boys in blue.
Did this sorority? Wait a second. No, I have a serious question. Did this sorority interfere with our election?
I've never been in a sorority, and I've never been in a fraternity.
Me neither. I don't even like Greek things.
Where's Papa?
That's not entirely true. I do enjoy a delicious Greek salad. Big fan of feta cheese.
Feta cheese.
I say feta. Feta.
You're fated to like feta.
Tomato. I am fated to like feta. I like that.
You're laughing at me, aren't you?
Somewhere there's a company.
He's laughing at me, folks.
Somewhere there's a company that sells feta cheese that must hire you to be their spokesman.
Is it my fault that I've known you for many years, that sometimes I believe that I can see your vestigial. Is it vestigial? But is that a virgin from Rome? Your vestigial tail wagging in back of you, where there is no tail after the Sassy Shame incident in Lewiston, Maine. And you laugh at me?
I don't like talking about my vestigial tail.
Remember when you had the little shorts?
I'm an Irish.
Like Mickey Mouse?
I'm an
and
Irish
the big buttons?
Yeti, and I'm very insecure about that.
Well, it was a good, advertising gag. Jesus, now he's in Worcester with all that money.
Let's see. Pompeo says North Korea, inconsistent with the nuclearization pledge, continues to make nuke production. Mike Pompeo is acknowledging this.
Oh, hell with him. It's all lies, and you're all laughing at me.
This isn't a bad
thing.
You're
laughing at me.
No, this isn't a bad thing. I'm laughing at Trump, actually, because Trump said, everything's good now.
You're supposed to keep your tail, the stub, contained. Well, that's part of the bylaws.
It is a stub. It's not hard to keep it contained. But
you're sitting on your keister all this time.
I do shift my weight in the chair a little bit.
The chair's got that cutout there, but sometimes this type of weather, the shorts, they bunch up.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, God, yeah. It's kind of gross.
If
And you're laughing at me.
Well, if things have gone awry with North Korea, you know what that means.
Awry.
My
Catcher in the rye.
My close personal friend, Dennis Rodman, is going to have to, hopefully he'll take me with him again, and we'll go back to North Korea for some free throw with Kim Jong-un, and who's quite the baller, by the way. And
What do you mean by that,
we'll make it
mister?
right. I mean, he can ball even though he's only 4'10". He wears lifts.
No, that
But,
was my father's next door neighbor, Spud Webb, 5'7" and could dunk.
Yeah.
But he would not put a drain in his hot tub, and that was the end of the big hedge between their two places.
Well, obviously.
Well, because he would drain it, and that was funny.
I'm sure it was.
It was just an irritant, you know.
Yes.
They'd have his. This is true. This is absolutely true.
Spud Webb, an irritant, much like Kim Jong-un.
Spud Webb, who was a basketball star of the Atlanta Hawks. At that time, they were middle class, you know.
But
You could have a neighbor that's a well-known NBA star. You wouldn't now, for God's sakes. How much is LeBron James going to get from the L.A. Lakers? And now he should get combat pay with the commander-in-chief insulting him.
I can confirm that Kim Jong-un does drain his hot tub. He does
He
have a drain.
oughta. Jeez, he's a midget. How many Kim Il-youngs can fit into a 700 liter tub? Is that a small tub or a big tub? 700 liters.
That's a big tub for a small man like Kim Jong-un.
Or myself.
Oh, well, I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to be rude.
I'm over there. It's like Gulliver's Travels. You know, suddenly I go from to yeah. But I was never there.
Oh, right.
I almost went there. You know that.
Are you saying the
But they
people
were
there
going
are
to keep
small?
me south of the
It's very
DMZ.
racist. Oh, okay.
Heightist, but not racist.
Right.
I'm discriminated against on my height every day since
Are
I was
you?
12.
Who discriminates against you again?
Oh, gee,
Are you not
Eh.
allowed on some rides? Is that what you're saying?
any bipedal carbon-based life form with an XX chromosome to begin with.
Are you talking about the ladies? Is that what's really going on there?
Can we use the word ladies?
You think you can still say ladies?
That's the problem with that the DSM-5 has with gender dysmorphia, that we shouldn't even use the word gender.
I'm a big
It's a
fan
very
of.
binary type of thinking.
Do you like the song "Hey Ladies" by the Beastie Boys? Personal favorite
that's
of
after
mine.
1991.
Actually, yeah, I think you're right.
There you go.
Paul's Boutique, I think. Peter would know.
Piotr, who's actually a Russian plant.
Peter White's a Russian plant.
Oh yeah.
I think Mr. Mueller is going to be paying him a little visit.
Haven't you ever seen him flowering?
I have, and I wondered
It's
about
kind
it.
of
I wonder. It is Russian. It's very Russian.
At first, you just think, well, maybe he didn't shave.
Right.
And, how you can get tufts like behind your ears when you're not like doing your hair around
Is he
your
related?
ear and
Is he related to Steven
It
Seagal?
was such a bright. It was like a cactus flower. In fact, I thought somebody put a cactus flower on Peter until they realized it was a listening device.
So are you saying here on this program
that Joel
that,
Elber is being spied upon.
and that are you suggesting that Peter White meddled in our elections? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but he's on the right side.
Oh.
Not the right or left of the political spectrum, but on the side of righteousness.
Oh.
That's what I meant.
Right.
So, Joel always had. It's good nature. You just have to keep Joel on the straight and narrow. Sometimes he can wander. You know that. Defending the Yankees who are indefensible. I mean, New York Yankees, not us as Yankees.
Right.
As Americans.
Oh, I hope so.
Yankee, go home and all that crap.
According to Lindsey Graham, China
Miss Lindsey. Senator Graham.
China is telling North Korea to run out the clock on nuke talks with the U.S. This is a theory that I've read.
What did that jerk say?
Well, like you always say, North Korea is a cat's paw of the Chinese.
I deny it now.
You do?
Yeah, ever since I got programmed this morning.
What happened this morning? Oh, you found out you had VD?
VD my keister.
Oh, you've got it there? Jeez.
Hardly.
How'd that happen?
Well, let's tell you, the Pleiadians, they send, it's like an electric current, Matt. We're not talking about an infection like
Are you about
get like at a cat house.
Are you about to share something disgusting?
I could tell you a really great story if we have any time.
With
But you like to. If there's one thing we know about Matt Connarton, if he's reading a news item, if me and Jenny are like battling, 45s, hammers, knives coming out, he's gonna go while we're licking our wounds. He's gonna go back to that thing. Then we're gonna fight again, and he's gonna go back to it again.
if there's a news item involving Lindsey Graham, I'm all in.
What did Senator Grimm have to say, Matt?
I already told you.
I couldn't hear because somebody was babbling.
He said that China is telling North Korea to run out the clock on new talks with the U.S.
Yeah, the Chinoisie.
The what?
Isn't that French for Chinese? Chinoisie.
I don't speak French or Chinese.
Well, neither do I, but I make an effort.
The
Chinese, eh?
It's only German I know is Akbeigen Manfragen.
Octoliba, baby.
Which probably doesn't even mean anything.
What
Octolibra?
What is meaning?
What do you have a story about? Venereal disease?
Oh my God, she's trying to call.
Who is?
Hey,
Who's trying
the
to call?
basement flooded at my house.
Your lady friend?
The basement flooded at the house where I stay. Because all this damn raining. And it's an ancient dump.
So what, do you have a pool? Like in your basement?
Well, I thought a pipe had burst.
Oh.
So, oh my God. It's like Merdsee, as they say on the west side.
Merdsee.
And
I know what merd means in French.
And
means
that
poop.
I'm talking French Canadian.
Oh.
And then they're going to shut off my electricity because I had made a deal with the electric company that they were supposed to, one of these deals, that you take out a certain amount of money.
A payment plan.
Today we're going to shut off your power. If you don't give us all this money.
Oh.
I said, well, what about the payment plan? And they said, well, you can't have auto pay and a plan at the same time.
Really?
Which, when you don't have a memory that can last 10 seconds, which is the reason you're in the trouble anyways, it didn't seem logical. So, yeah. So Dolly, I'm on the phone with Dolly. I got a text from Dolly.
Dolly the sheep?
No, Dolly.
Dolly, your lady friend.
The love of my life, Mark II.
Oh.
And
the one who gave you the infection?
You've talked to no.
Oh.
Never named you.
Oh,
You've
good.
talked to her before. You've talked to her recently. We won't name names. But she says.
Well, you didn't name a name. You called her Dolly.
We have a we have this connection.
Yes.
And so, I got a flooding house. My sister, who owns the house, inherited it and lets me stay there, and so they don't throw me, into the booby hatch or God knows where else. And
that's a great strip club.
She went down to Dollywood in Tennessee, with her daughter and son-in-law and the tots. I guess she's gonna have a great time because they'll be off at Dolly, and she's got the tots, right?
Yes.
But that's what grandmothers are for. So she's away. I'm saying to her, "Oh my God, the place is flooding," which happens. This is Manchester. It rains a lot. Like my friends, I have friends that I can see the water coming to their place.
Oh.
And we're having trouble in the north end. Like 4 houses were flooded.
Oh.
But then the electricity's going to be turned off. Oh my God. So I'm going through all this hell, plus everything to do with being a veteran and trying to deal with all that crap. So I get a text message from Dolly.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, John, I could actually read it to you.
Oh. Ooh,
I don't think I'll be violating any privacy, as they like to say in the UK.
I hope it's not anything too personal.
No. Those are. I would have to go back a couple of years.
Are you and Dolly adopting a child together from
Oh, yes. Would
Africa?
you like me to show you?
That you can then send to college in Dubai? That would be exciting.
Very, very.
That's us.
It's a Russian child.
Oh. Very Russian. I think Mr. Mueller is going to be knocking on your door, sir.
Well, Roger Stone did help.
Yes. Oh. Okay.
Okay, so good old Hoppy, who, like Peter White said when I first met him, I never met anybody like you, and now that he's known me a few years, probably says I'm glad I never did, and hope I never meet anybody like you again.
Wow.
But that's not the way Peter thinks.
No. He's a very nice, very nice man.
So I'm being flooded. I'm arguing with these troglodytes at the electric company.
Oh, I hope they're not listening.
Let's not even get into that. Oh, well, we don't have supervisors anymore, and we can't escalate, and no, you can't have our employee number, and I'm not going to tell you whether that's my real name and whether we really do work for the electric company. And no, you can't use auto pay, blah, blah, blah. So I'm battling a flood, which blew my... I'm taking these bags, like, how many pounds of... What do you call it? The stuff you use to put flowers in. 'Cause it was
Flower pots?
Not flower pots, you yeti. Like it's a 20-pound bag or something of garden soil or something, and I'm using it like a sandbag to stop the water.
Okay, great.
And then the electricity is like, oh my God. The only thing that keeps me sane is when I dream and I have a connection with Dolly. It's like having a cord to her. Yeah, but you're not. Wait till you're on the other end. Here it is. I had a very disturbing dream, and you were in it. You showed up at my house unannounced. Made me irritated. The house got flooded. Water was flowing from the kitchen into my room. I wanted to clean up the water, but you disconnected the power, saying I can get electric shock. You were just sitting and observing the disaster, and I was desperate to fix it. Then you smuggled a black border collie. I didn't know. Remember, a border collie is a Scottish dog from the border of Scotland, and they're often called an Anglo-Scottish dog, which is what I am, Anglo-Scottish, so it's weird.
Right.
And
but you're not a dog. You're like human.
Well, you can have a spiritual animal about what you are, and I've often thought I was a dog. But I wanted to clean up the water, but you disconnected the power, saying get electric shock. Now, she doesn't know anything about what I just told you.
Yeah, wow.
You were just sitting and observing the disaster, which is me all over. I'll just watch and, hey, look at what this one's doing and that one's doing. Whole world's going to hell. And you wouldn't want me to help because then we all get sued. And because I have the subtlety of a bulldozer.
Yes.
You were just sitting and observing the disaster, and I was desperate to fix it. Then you smuggled a black border collie, I didn't know, and Rousseau, the black Russian terrier, so that might, who we're talking about, attacked it. Now, Rousseau's got a neck, like, you remember the black Russian terriers?
Yes.
A black Russian terrier. A Doberman has a collar with the studs out. Black Russian terrier has the studs in, so you can control it.
Yeah.
I got mad about the whole situation, went and turned on the power to turn on the light, and got an electric shock. I felt it through my body. It was awful. I woke up being electrocuted. The pain was real with a terrible headache.
Jeez.
That's what love is, you know? You have this connection. And that's what was happening to me, and she felt it.
So, wow, that's incredible. So you're saying, Dolly, before sending you that, didn't know anything about what was going on?
I swear to God, I do believe in God.
That's incredible.
Not really, when you think about, remember we were up when we were up with Norm? Remember the 2 times? And I gave Norm all the juice?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And Norm was up. Oh.
No, but that is remarkable. Now, did you respond to all that and say...
Yes, and where a normal person would respond with, like, not 120 letters, but maybe 120 words, she got about 1,200 to 1,500, because I could write you a 15... Before everything really went haywire, I could write you a 1,500 words on any subject within about an hour and a half that you could place, like, in HEPO or something. You know, that was one of my gifts, which, you know, is not very valued now because I'm crazy.
Baby, you're crazy.
Yes, and I should be with my honey, but, you know, would you want to hook up with somebody that can give you an electric shock?
You should be
from
with
3,200 miles away.
Some people have a fetish for that.
For being shocked?
Yep.
Well, you did tell me about Pornhub.
Shock me.
Or was it somebody here?
Make me feel better.
Jeez, I can't believe
Pornhub.
They have.
Listen, as far as Pornhub,
maybe that was the morning show.
Yeah, probably. Because let me go on record again, and it seems, and this is not the first time I've had to do this. Let me go on record again.
That Ben Dion.
I don't have any idea about this Pornhub that you speak of.
I think I heard it on the Ben Dion show.
No idea what it is.
Blame him
more easily. I don't know, and I don't know if such a thing even exists. I don't know why anyone would look at it. I feel it's a sin.
Well, that's where I found out about the doll, the Lusty Daniels doll, whatever her name is.
Well, that's a sin. She is a sinner.
I don't know what to think or do. I wished I could just astrally project myself the hell out of here, and possibly into a bank vault, but that wouldn't be right, huh?
Well, you
How
need
come
to
I
be
can't
able
like
to
levitate money or dematerialize it? Or...
How come you can't? I don't know. I mean, can't most people do that?
Look what happened when we were in the future. That didn't work out too well.
No,
I'm
that's
surprised
true.
we even got back after that 2 weeks. Well, you were in Korea for half of the time.
Yes, I was with Kim Jong Un in
the
the hot,
half-wit coins.
in the,
remember?
in
the
the-
half-wit.
in the hot tub. We were in the hot tub.
Nobody wants me in the hot tub.
You know, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You have not lived until you've experienced nude sunbathing with Kim Jong Un and Dennis Rodman.
I don't see why, you would be excluded from a hot tub just because, that Korean food gives you a bad case of the flatulence. I mean, everything's bubbling up.
Well, sometimes I'm excluded from the hot tub because of my Yeti heritage, and I'm extreme. Some people don't want hair in the hot tub.
Oh, yeah, all the, I don't want to use the term dingleberries. That's there actually is a thing called a dingleberry in Australia. It's kind of
Yes.
a berry. But, when you were poor and you broke one in the tub, I think that's about as close as you ever came to a jacuzzi. Or am I being crude and mean? I'm so good at both of them.
You are being crude and mean, and you've hurt my feelings, but you're also correct.
Hopefully, Matt, we'll get the refugee who's going to talk about the massacre in Syria. And that's serious, but, we have to get her on.
I enjoy Syrian bread with my Greek salad when I'm enjoying the feta.
Or feta.
Or feta. I'm fated for feta.
Fated to like feta.
Fated
I love
to like
feta. Cheese.
I do too.
Now, feta comes from a lamb, a sheep, a ewe. A male doesn't create milk, so it has to be from a ewe. Feta cheese is fated to come from a ewe. Now, goat cheese, what's that called that comes from a goat?
It's just called goat cheese, isn't it?
There's got to be a name for it.
No, honestly, I think this is called goat cheese,
And then there's ouzo,
which is ooze cheese.
which used to be called
Oh.
poot in the 40s over in the west side.
Oh my.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we are about out of time. We got to wrap up. But,
Tempest Fugit.
But thank you for sharing that story. That's very interesting.
And that one was true.
No, I believe it. But that was
The
very.
more bizarre they are, the more true.
Yeah, no, truth often
For
is stranger
me.
than fiction. Yeah, and thank you, of course, to Glenn R.J. Willett and the People's Mayor, and I wish him continued success in adopting these children and
From
sending
Dubai?
them. No, not from Dubai, but from Africa, but sending them to school in Dubai. Very exciting.
I thought he was going to send them right here to high school here.
Well, that's what he should do if he loves this city as much as he claims.
Right. I agree with you.
Thank
Finally, I agree.
you to everybody in the Facebook live chat. Thank you, Jenny, for sending those stories. And if you missed any part of today's show, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. And that's it for now. Talk at y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.